tendency to want to come together. For the first time in our history here, you find we have a tendency to want to come together. For the first time, we have a tendency to want to work together. And up till now, no organization on the American continent has tried to unite you and me with our brothers and sisters back home. At no time, none of them. Marcus Garvey did it, they put him in jail. They framed him in government. Framed him, they put him in jail. Marcus Garvey tried. The only fear that exists is that you and I, once we get united, will also unite with our brothers and sisters. It's time for you and me to unite, to get together and get this big white ache off our back. You got a bad habit. You're hooked and don't know it. You got what's known as white disease. You think you can't get along without the white man. You think you can't get some clothes without the white man. You think you can't get a house without the white man. You think you can't even get a job without the white man. You're worse than a man who thinks he can't get along without heroin. You're worse than the man who thinks he can't get along without morphine. You're worse than the junkie. You're in worse shape than the junkie because the junkie only has a little monkey on his back and you're running around with a big white ape named Uncle Sam on your back. America is faced with her worst domestic crisis since the Civil War or since the Revolutionary War. For America now faces a race war. A race war is worse than a revolutionary war. A race war is worse than a civil war. A race war is a war in which no holes are barred. A race war is a war in which children are destroyed, in which children are mutilated, in which children face the same destructive wrath that grown-ups face. A race war is the worst war that you can conceive. And this war, race war that is coming upon the head of the white man is something that he is bringing down upon himself. The entire country is on the verge of erupting into racial violence and bloodshed. Simply because 20 million ex-slaves are demanding freedom, justice, and equality here in America from their former slave master. 20 million so-called Negroes, second-class citizens, seeking human dignity, seeking human rights, seeking the right to live in dignity as a human being. And rather than give genuine respect and recognition to your cry for human rights, the American white man answers your nonviolence with violence. He answers your prayers and your freedom songs with false promises, deceitful maneuvers, and outright bloodshed. According to what we are taught from the white man's textbooks and his school, the Revolutionary War and the Civil War were two wars fought on American soil, supposedly for freedom and democracy. But that these two wars were really for the freedom and human dignity of all men, why are 20 million of our people still confined here in America and enslaved by second-class citizenship? Something is wrong. The truth is that the Revolutionary War was fought on American soil to free the American white man from the English time. In fact, most of the white founding fathers who July as Independence Day, while white America still defies the war of independence as long as 20 million black people here in America are denied the privileges. When you look at that man, you're supposed to see him for exactly what he is. And if you want to know what he is, examine his deeds. Forget his words. He got a whole lot of pretty sounding words. Watch his deeds. His deeds are like the deeds of a snake, the deeds of a serpent, the deeds of a dragon, the deeds of a reptile.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. And I'm not gonna lie today, I try not to come on today, but I really did want to say something, you know what I'm saying? And first I gotta say, my bad, Bukhari, because I know he was busy. And what I was going to talk about, because I don't want to talk about this no more, because I'm gonna be honest, I think it's dumb. Is like, what we was talking about yesterday when we talking about this ADOS and FBA, versus whatever. And I say I apologize to my brother Bukari, because I know he was busy. That's why I tried to wait, but I'm probably not gonna have time. And I'm not really even gonna focus on it. I'm gonna go somewhere else, but I do have to say something, about it. What's going on, Raw? I appreciate you. Happy birthday, Raw. Yo, shouts out to Raw. That's another thing too, is Raw birthday. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like when y'all be talking about that stuff and always arguing, first of all, unless we're gonna get paid to have these debates, like I was showing you that debate yesterday, then I don't even want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? That goes to what we talking about. But honestly, like I know that y'all like kind of addicted. I don't know why we so addicted to it, just being in that whole argument. I think is dumb. Like even when I can't blame Raw, because like Raw doesn't do it, but like when I let them other people on and y'all can't stand it, like that's the same thing to me. It's like nails on a chalkboard when y'all always talking about the same stuff over and over. And it's BS, because instead of like arguing or debating or trying to tear something else down, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, definitely, Raw. I appreciate you and thank you for coming too, Raw. Yo, what's going on, Shanique? Oh no, yo, because you said something important yesterday, Shanique. You was like, it's important to put the issues out there, but I ain't gonna go too far with it because, like I said, Bakari, I'm not gonna be able to come on here, and I can give respect to Bakari because I know he can come on here. He ain't gonna take it personal. He ain't gonna be like, oh, you won't mess with me or nothing. Like if I say certain things, and he can turn up and go back. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid. And I don't want to talk about this because this is why I'm saying the last time I'm gonna talk about it, because like even like no matter what you believe, if you like, okay, well I believe in like Black Americans and all of this stuff first, and focus on, that's fine, like I get it, you want to build your neighborhood, you build your community, build all of this. But if that's the case, like why are you even sitting there trying to argue or debunk or say something else about somebody else? You feel me? Then go build something that's just for, and make sure you have strict guidelines to make sure that it's only for Black people in America. If you're Pan-African, there's nothing stopping you from like, well, like whatever it is, like you go over there. We need people all across the world, no matter where we are in the world. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand, like, it's okay to have differences and like, certain things. Like that's why I was showing the Olympics, you know what I'm saying? Like, how much like, you'll make all the quote unquote money or whatever, but that'll be the best thing, like we in the Olympics for America, for France, for Germany, for Switzerland, you know, instead of for ourselves. And then we argue amongst ourselves about, which one that we are. But if you like like you could go over there and do stuff, and even if you are Pan-African, then you would support Black people here in America that's trying to do their thing. And my thing with the whole thing is y'all give passes to certain people, and I'm not gonna go too far on that part of it, but it's like it's just so many things that you could say, and that's how I didn't want to come on. I tried not to come on here, but I mean, if you are what you are, then you would be in that lane building towards it, instead of like being into some kind of debate or letting somebody else like trigger you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we arguing because we scared to really do something. You know what I'm saying? And we rather have these tribal wars with each other because it's easier, because we all understand that what happens with Black people, because we try to act like we don't know what Black people is either. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be like Trump here, it's bad people on both sides, because I think that people give passes to whoever side they on. Not everybody, of course. Some like most like Raw, Shanique, y'all wouldn't give a pass to certain things, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, right, we understand that, like, even with the whole movement, I seen it come up, like, even like kind of during that election, it started kind of on some like, yo, Black people now with the immigration messing with the Mexicans and all of that stuff. And then it turns into like, yo, and I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't vote for like Democrats just for open borders. That wouldn't be one of my things that I asked for, because historically we have got stabbed in the back by every single group, and then I seen that turn into like black people started to be like, well, you're whatever the word is when you are afraid of immigrants, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying? But and it just turned to black people sniping each other, you know what I'm saying? And then the thing is, like, whatever side you on, you're giving passes to the people. Like, y'all always give me a hard time talking about when I be like, I'm not hard on the coon. Y'all can't say nothing to me because y'all all have coons on all of y'all sides. And then sometimes you act like you don't, but you take up for your side instead of like what we understand is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And like, is number one, like, first of all, like, we can never be Americans. You know what I'm saying? Just like Toussaint could never have been a Frenchman. You know what I'm saying? We could never be Americans, and we shouldn't want to be. We should want to have our own stuff, right? Our goals would be completely different than theirs. You know what I'm saying? And black people, like I said, have always done this, but at the same time, like, you can't act like, your enemy doesn't do these certain things. Like, just because you call something out doesn't mean you hate all of them. You know what I'm saying? Now, then once you have this stuff like building up, and then you see, like, of course, because we had the middleman telling us the whole time how we supposed to feel about each other, we listening to other people about how we should act and how we should be. But the whole time, the middleman is using both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But even when it comes to, like, when you building your own, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we had these things like, okay, well, we going to stay. And I think that, like I said, there is differences amongst us. Just like there's the French, there's the British, there's the Germans, there's the shysters, there are all of them. But they learned how to put aside their tribal differences under whiteness. It's just when it comes to you, maybe only when it comes to you, but they learned how to do that. Right. And once they declare war on, like, and they try to be like, well, this is an American thing, then why is the black people, the dark-skinned people, the people that look like us at the bottom all across the world? And it's on purpose. And they understand it's hard enough to get unity amongst ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, there is something to be said about having unity in the community that you're in before you are doing whatever, you know what I'm saying? Charity starts at home. And as his enemy, why wouldn't I bring in people? Who would you rather bring in, Patrice Lumumba or Candace Owens, if you're looking at it through the eyes of America? You know what I'm saying? And then to say, like, well, this person, because there are certain people that do that, like I talk about the governor of Virginia, that chick, you know what I'm saying? She says disrespectful things, and it's about respecting each other's culture and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to have differences, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna lie, like it do be annoying when you be like, oh well, if you say black people in America this, black people in America is that. And this is why I'm not saying Bakari, because I know that he calls out, you know what I'm saying, the coons from everywhere, you know what I'm saying, or different places. But sometimes we make excuses for one thing, we make excuses for what we are. And my thing is, I never heard nobody be like, oh well, we got to stop saying Haitian, Jamaican, Nigerian. We can't identify as a solitary group, even though we all have different things. And yeah, there is coons in every group, you know what I'm saying? And that makes it even worse. But the problem is, like I said, with this movement, like, we have differences. We may even compete and do all of this stuff. But then when it became to that, then they start adding in the people who we always talk about, like, even with the I don't want to say the people's names, but like, even with the biracial chick, mulatto, Yvette Carnell, right? And this is not the, like, this people, but it is what it is. Like she was saying like anti-black stuff, talking about Francis Cress Welsing, all that stuff back then. The dude Tone Talks, and I don't know if Koku listening, but Koku know who Zoe Williams is. He used to be on Zoe Williams stuff, but he always used to say some kind of coonish kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So these people is like that. But then it's people that understand, like, well, yeah, I am a black person in America. I understand that, like, just like if I was to go to Haiti, these people is Haitian, and that's okay to have the history of Haiti because they have a rich history. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to celebrate your differences. You know what I'm saying? But we have let other people get us to start arguing and exploiting the differences that we say we have. And then on top of that, when we see like the coons who are in the bill, who come from every side, you know, and then especially when they get elevated in certain places, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I know I'm just like kind of rambling on this because I had a whole lot of other stuff that I wanted to show. But my thing is, none of this stuff is new. And I can't believe that we keep getting caught up in on it, And just because somebody say, oh, well, I'm Pan-African, and then all the stuff that they have is some negative going at nothing but black people. Yo, what's up, Matron? Shouts out to Matron in the building. Right. So if you have, but this person is saying that it is what it is. This is a person that's doing it. If you have a black person who says like quote unquote black American, you know what I'm saying, then then we already know what's up. It is what it is, but I just don't get how y'all keep getting caught up in it because I don't even think, even though this argument is not even a new argument, we keep repeating history over and over and over. And that's the thing that's kind of like making me, I guess, annoyed with it. Like, why are we still having this same argument to the point where we can't even talk about something constructive? You know what I'm saying? Because if a black person in America always hears something like, then they take it personal. That's why I'd be like, well, if I was Drip, him and Bakari agree with everything except for that one topic. You know what I'm saying? Everything else they'd be talking, they could talk for hours on. You know what I'm saying? Like from the food to everything. Yo, what's going on, my brother Maurice Muhammad in the building? You know what I'm saying? And but we can't act like, because there is black people that be like, well, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. We don't learn from the past, because I'm not gonna act like there aren't black people in America and all that stuff. Some of them who do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? We got black people who say Harriet Tubman wasn't real, but if I ask them was John Brown real, then they start stuttering. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? But if Harriet Tubman ain't real, that means John Brown is either a liar or he ain't real. You know what I'm saying? But they don't realize what they say when they say that. And we will deny a lot of our stuff. Like, just like everybody, there is like with the Dominicans would be like, I'm not black. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. There's people in America be like, I'm not black. I'm this. There's people in Africa. I'm not black. I'm this. But that has never worked to cure you. You know what I'm saying? That has never, ever worked. To argue with me about what is black when we all understand that is never going to cure you. But you argue over and over and over because you don't want to actually deal with the real substance of what it is. So every time we get caught up in it, it's okay to say it like every once in a while, but like that's all we talk about. Yo, what's going on, MG2? Appreciate you coming through. And that's what I'm like, yo, like, how do we keep getting caught up in this same cycle over and over? And then that's why I be sounding like nails on a chalkboard, like when y'all do it, and then y'all give who y'all love passes, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't even new. And I don't even think that a lot of these talking points is coming from us. So then you have these other people that come on the social media and you get it. Because see, we like to debate and argue. If we're going to debate and argue, like, do it like I was the debate show I was showing you yesterday, where they made all that money, right, to tell people what they wanted to hear, to spread their propaganda. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're going to debate. And I'm not saying it's not even a time and place for that, but we all know and all understand what the truth is. Because if I was to ask them, they'll be like, well, yeah, I would side with other black people after black, like, black quote unquote Americans. But if that's what you about, then go be about that. you know. But if you're about Pan-African, then go be about that, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? The point is, when we sit there and argue about it, that's a reason why we're doing that. And of course, they don't want us to like, be all around. We supposed to be all around the world, like wherever minerals or resources that we need. I don't care where you are. You know what I'm saying? You go get it. You go take it. But like I said, we just keep saying the same thing over and over, you know, and having these same debates about like where like, and like I said, like, because I was on another person's show, we was talking about something totally different. Then all of a sudden they started arguing about it. You know, I think all of y'all is, I ain't gonna say dumb as hell. I forgot what I said, but I think all that is crazy. Y'all all crazy for to keep having these arguments when we in the situation. Like why not have an argument? Like, okay, well, fine. Like if we like, let's debate how we could like get, okay, black people in Virginia, how can we do like, that's the kind of debates we supposed to be having if we ain't at least not gonna get paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff is stupid, you know what I'm saying? And we understand that it will never, like, unity does starts at home though, and that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like unless we willing to give up all of this stuff, like they can still be French, German, and all that stuff. They still gonna fight and have war, but Ukraine and Russia both gonna stop shooting at each other to like tell Africans get the hell off the train and walk across the border. You know what I'm saying? Because we still trying to be French, we still trying to be American, we still trying to be British, you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the queen is sitting on their queen. She got buried with their biggest diamond on her finger, you know what I'm saying? And brothers can't even say nothing about it or do nothing about it. Like you go to the Bahamas, like it's nice. Everywhere I've been that is nice. It's majority black, but it's poverty. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like we don't even have time to have these kind of arguments. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It's just crazy. Like I said, man, I was gonna say a whole lot more about this stuff because I know, and if y'all want to like talk about it, then that's fine, you know. But like I said, man, I don't want to talk about that. That's why I go out the way from this whole time not to talk about this ADOS versus all of this stuff because I don't even think this time is coming from us. They just took an old argument that we can repeatedly have. Not that it matters, right? Because the ones who like you should go and build the stuff, and then that gives us a chance to work across whatever borders that we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just the fact that we rather argue because we don't want to recognize like, yo, blackness is always going to be under attack. Because I don't care where you go, you at the bottom of that society. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. And look, I was gonna show y'all this, right? And I was gonna make it at least, you know what I'm saying, not just be arguing type stuff, you know. This brother talking about this is 1811, right? This the one. I don't even think this was the first time we had this debate, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all act like this is something brand new, you know. You don't think that back then people was like, yo, I'm not this, I'm American, you know what I'm saying? I don't like most black people did not want to go like with Paul Cuffey, but he also only went to like 3 states, you know what I'm saying? And he was approaching mostly the black people with money who felt like, oh no, I'm good here, even though it's like America in the 1800s. They could get kidnapped and sent off to slavery like tomorrow or tonight. But that's what I'm saying, Rob. Because that's the thing, even when I'm talking about them, we always got to bring it back to us. We know what we can say about us all the time, every time. But the minute you say something about them, it always got to come back to us. And why we always got to have this internal war, we got to separate ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. How could we be friends with anybody if we can't even be friends with ourselves? And I mean, each group internally, we all have our issues internally at that. You know what I'm saying?
Enlightened opinion at this time generally favored colonization as the answer to the incipient racial problem. Look that word up. INCIPIENT. Don't do it now, but do it later when you get back up. Incipient racial problem. In 1811, Paul Kofi sailed one of his ships, the Traveler, from Westport, Massachusetts to Sierra Leone, Africa, where he founded the Friendly Society for the Immigration of Free Negroes from America. The War of 1812 interrupted his colonization plans, but in 1815, he took 38 Negroes to Sierra Leone at a cost of $4,000 from his personal funds.
Now get this: the England and America war, right? They understood they was both white, you know what I'm saying, and they both sided with France, even though they was fighting with France the whole time against Haiti. But they was fighting each other at the same time, right? It's not like, don't y'all understand like how this stuff could work, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we don't want to talk about the business side of it. We just want to, like, if we're gonna do that, at least do the Olympic thing where we compete with each other first, you know what I'm saying? Like the Black Olympics around the world, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Kofi planned many more trips with black colonists, but his health failed and he died in 1817. And that's the story in brief of Paul.
all right, so, and y'all know that Black people in 1811 to 1815, it was an argument then, okay, right? Y'all know, and there was several movements in between, you know what I'm saying? Delaney, you know what I'm saying? See, I know this joint gonna start messing up, but of course you had Marcus Garvey. What is that? 100-something years ago, we had another debate and argument. You know what I'm saying? We argued about that then. All right. And then I saw these a while ago, right? These is exchange students, right? Back in the 50s between, because guess what? Like a lot of people make it just black people in America. If you're waiting for black people in America to save you, then you're going to be waiting for a long time. Everybody got to do what they got to do. Man, woman, child, all of us. Go get it in. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be waiting a long time if you're waiting for anybody to save you. Nobody is coming to save us but us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so go save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's on the individual set, then understand it's always going to be collective. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to play like the first minute.
It was maybe a suggestion that we start this discussion with a prayer in case there should be. Start this discussion on prejudice.
Of course, the white boy represents South
Africa.
Africa.
What your own prejudices are? How about you, Nabi?
Actually, I'm prejudiced against the Italians, and I have been prejudiced against the Mohammedans. Since I arrived here, I have developed some new prejudices, and I never felt that I was a Negro till I came to this country.
I never felt like he was a Negro. Dude was like, what? It's funny, right? We often never do feel like a Negro until you get that wake-up call, right?
I never felt that I was a Negro till I came to this country.
Why?
Because my tutor in the monastery told me that I was not a Negro, but I was a sunburned Hebrew.
You mentioned that you have prejudices against Mohammedans. I am a Mohammedan, and I have prejudices against Christians too in southern Nigeria.
Oh yeah, we ain't even gonna get into the religious part of it, are we? Right? Damn, I'm trying to get off of where we live at. Damn, never mind. This is gonna be a long time coming.
You said you have prejudices against Christians in southern Nigeria. Is that particularly because they are Christians? I'm a Christian myself, but I have no prejudice against Mohammedans.
Now, before we got to where they live, the first dude said, no, I'm against, you know what I'm saying, the Mohammedans, and I'm a Hebrew. Then Muhammad was like, well, no, I'm just against the Christians. And then the other black dude said, well, I'm a Christian. They was already divided. That's crazy.
Rather prejudice against whites.
But why have you got prejudice against the whites in the Gold Coast?
I think it's sort of this kind. At first, I was not prejudiced against whites anyway. I was prejudiced against fellow Africans because I had some opportunities which some of the Africans didn't get. I was brought up in a city. I lived the Western way, I dressed the Western style, and I did everything Western. And so I was looking down upon fellow Africans who live in the villages, in the rural areas. As I developed, I started getting some political ideas. Especially, I'm very much interested in the problem in South Africa. We hear quite often about how the blacks are treated there, how everything goes on there. And for instance, everybody knows that we get good friendship and peace in the world through games like the Olympic Games and those kinds of games.
Oh yeah, how that
But
work out?
everybody knows that the team from the Union of South Africa has not got a single African, which means the people in South Africa think of themselves as superior beings. And this thing gives me more ideas just to be prejudiced and discriminate against the whites. And so I'd like you to explain to me some of the policies of the apartheid system.
Yo, none of their prejudice was a white boy. You know what I'm saying? They trying to unite. The one thing that they didn't have prejudice against was the white South African up there.
And the basic idea to be logical.
White nation has settled itself in a black country. In the whole of Africa, there are 190 million Africans, 190 million Negroes.
Yes, yes.
And inside,
They had to correct that 190 million Negroes. All right, look, I'm not going to talk about this because I was like, yo, forget it. I was going to talk about something else because I ain't going to talk about this about myself. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to come on here and talk about this, because I don't want to talk about this no more. You know what I'm saying? This whole ADOS nonsense, because I had all of this to show for that, and I'm just going to be like, forget it. You know what I'm saying? I'll show something else unless y'all want to come on here. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I was making some of y'all mad yesterday, so y'all have the courage of Bakari for him. You know what I'm saying? Bakari couldn't come, but I know he would have had the courage to come on here. But y'all talk about it all the time, so you're welcome. But if not, I'm skip to something else.
in Southern Africa, there are almost 3 million white people. That means less than 3%. Now, in South Africa itself, the blacks outnumber the whites there by 4-1. In the States here, they outnumber the white people outnumber the Negroes 8-1. For that reason, and for the reason, and for this fact, that one cannot ever draw a parallel line between the Negroes in South Africa and the Negroes in the States. The Negroes in the States are far above the Negroes in South Africa as far as education and civilization goes. Now, the government's policy of apartheid.
Now you see that, you see who the one that came. They was already divided off religion. You know what I'm saying? And not the white boy who came, the white South African boy, but he was like, well, the black people in America are far superior because they've been indoctrinated. They got more European education. You know what I'm saying? And thing is, right, because now other groups will come in and say, well, we're more educated than you and all that stuff. But I mean, like, even with Cornel West is educated, you know what I'm saying? Indoctrinated, I guess.
That policy, the guiding principle of this policy is to help the non-whites in South Africa to self-realization in their own territories.
Listen, if y'all want to talk about this, then y'all can come on here. Just let me know, because I'm gonna skip all the rest of it, because the rest had to do with different parts of this whole ADOS. Because like I said, I'm like Trump, you know what I'm saying, on this one. It's bad people on both sides, you know what I'm saying. And the thing is, though, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, y'all give me a hard time all the time, but then y'all turn around and do the same thing. That's what it sounds like to me, when y'all keep arguing about it. And I ain't saying like y'all in particular, but whoever does such things, you know what I'm saying,
within their own communities, so that they can govern themselves. Gradually, they'll be giving more and more power to govern themselves. Now, that's what the guiding principle is, and that's what the white man in South Africa is doing.
Yeah, let me make this point clear. You say they want the Africans to develop themselves. And so will you allow the Africans to get their own governments and their own representations? Or
would you please, sir, please allow me to get my own government, sir?
The Africans to develop themselves. And so will you allow the Africans to get their own governments and their own representations? Or will you like to give them the rules and the laws by yourselves?
Please, sir, give me a hate crime bill, sir. Please, sir. Will you allow me to do this? I think that is probably top 5 most detrimental statements from black men and women, not allowed to do something. All right.
Year-old.
I'm gonna play a little bit of this one. All right.
Countries in Africa.
And you know what? Just because I'll go to something else, I'll put the link in there. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna go on this one because Bakari not here anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I know he would have kept talking for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I'm joking, my brother. But if any of y'all, because y'all be getting on me about this, you know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. Maybe they should be called out, you know what I'm saying? But I think that is well handled. And at this point, black people might as well put on blackface and tap shoes on YouTube, because that's kind of what we do here. All right. So I'm going to play this one.
Let me introduce them to you now. They're very interesting. Now, let's start out by asking you what some of
white girl representing South Africa this time.
your own prejudices are. How about you, Amelia? Have you got any prejudices, say, against the Nigerians?
Yeah, I have my own personal prejudice against the Nigerians. Coming from the Gold Coast, where there are many Nigerians, I think that I sometimes look down on the Nigerians as somewhat inferior to us. Because, you see, the Nigerians who come to the Gold Coast are mostly beggars. So that's my opinion about the Nigerians.
It's funny.
Now, see, the thing is, right, we never understood or had this Berlin conference that they understood that they had to have, you know. So we still are on our tribal divisions, which will always keep us, you know, and this is the thing, because I think that there is good things in having your own tribe and making sure that your tribe is good so that you can interact with the other tribes. But they have understood how to put aside their tribal divisions, right? They was like, let's have this Berlin conference, you know what I'm saying? 1800s, right? We killing each other way too much to colonize Africa, because they like to be like, well, Africa, when it couldn't have been colonized, how could they get to the interior? Well, they never did until they put aside their whiteness, you know what I'm saying? But even before then, during Haiti, they put aside their tribal differences under the guise of whiteness. They learned how to do that. We never have learned that.
I don't see how you have a case against for this your proposition, or I say for this your stand. Actually, personally, I look towards the Gold Coast not as inferiors, but perhaps as people that are individualistic, are not working towards the communal effort towards the welfare of the nation. They, of course, have made great strides because they are a very small country, and yet you have all these differences in their country.
Nesbitt, how about your prejudices? You admitted to several at the beginning.
Again, not the white girl sitting right there representing South Africa, and that was not either one of their prejudices.
Well, as I told you before, we have also our own prejudices against the African Negroes. We consider them as inferiors. We have, of course, our own reasons for saying so.
Well, what are they, Nesbitt?
Wait till you find out.
Well, first thing, we consider ourselves to be of the lost tribe of Israel and not Negroes. It's only that our faces are burned that we look like Negroes. And also, we've been ruling part of Africa for
only because our faces are burnt that we look like Negroes, but we're not, though.
Hundreds of years. During the 16th century, and we ruled part of Egypt, Sudan, and as far down as Mozambique.
Well, what about your prejudices against white men?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I forgot about them.
If a woman marries a white man, she's considered mean, and when she dies, the priests never pray for her as they would do for any ordinary man. It's just considered as suicide.
Why do you think they look down on the white people so much?
Well, for the first reason, religiously they consider them unclean.
I think I'm very prejudiced against the foreign press, particularly the American press, because it's the whole setup.
All right, so I'll stop it there, because they're like, oh yeah, prejudice against the white dude. Oh yeah, I forgot about the white dude. All right, man, but you know, y'all get my point. I guess, you know, none of y'all have the courage that Bakari would have had to come on here, because I know Bakari would have at least represented his point. He would have been wrong, you know what I'm saying? But he would have at least, you know what I'm saying, represented that point, because a lot of y'all do have stuff to say about it, but you know, I always like be like, but I do get tired of y'all talking about it, and then especially with every time is only like seem like you know, like is negative about black people in America doing this and doing that, you know what I'm saying? And oh yeah, these brothers out here hanging out with the guns and doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's like Fox News sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But we let a lot of stuff slide, so you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, as long as y'all keep getting caught up in it, you know what I'm saying, I would encourage all of y'all to just ignore it, and whatever group that you say you rep that group, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. And it's okay to have differences, but we all know that black people, no matter where we are, is going to have to be that ultimate tribe, you know what I'm saying? Because you know what? We did not start this war, you know what I'm saying? But definitely gotta finish it, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Shanique?
Hey, Forecast. I had to. You put the invitation out. I'm Bone Crusher, never scared. Okay, so I'm here.
Okay, and MG2. Yeah, what up, MG2?
Hey, peace.
Yeah, go ahead, Shanique. Though, what you wanted to say? How you feel about this ADOS stuff? You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? I feel like we mix a whole lot of different belief systems into one problem. So we all recognize that we have one problem, and that's how we are treated, whether it be here or abroad. And then outside of that, we go, oh, well, this part of it is different for me. No different than what the panel on the video you showed. They all have their own prejudices. We all have our own inherent prejudices about everyone, even white people. And I don't know why they didn't. I think they were afraid to say it, possibly, but I'm sure they had theirs as well. So we take all of these things and say, oh, well, this is different for me because I was here first. This is different for me because we're Native American. This is different for me because, like you said, we're Hebrew. I think that the idea, or that we're Christian, or whatever or I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Republican, whatever the dividing thing that we put as a banner above us that in our mind distinguishes us as special, is the thing that we put out for why we should be treated differently. But the truth of the matter is that we're not treated differently. We're all treated in varying degrees of trash. So we have to recognize that on some degrees, none of that matters. Now, when it comes to your spiritual belief, the difference in that is simply your connection with your creator. And that's really about you and him or her or whatever your belief system is in there. Now, there are a lot of people who feel that they need to bring others into their belief system. And I'm all for doing that as a call. And if the person is interested, then they're interested. But if they're not, then they're not. And that's it. But that's the same way that other people make their political aspersion. Okay, I'm this and this is my calling. I'm that and that's my calling. So all of the other things that go on in the world are secondary to what it is that I put myself under. And that's what makes me be able to get up in the morning. I just feel like we have to recognize that I'm going to be ethnically, at least that's how I understand. Because for me, being an Israelite is not about being a religion. A lot of people like to make it that, but that's not what it is as I understand it and practice it, because I recognize who I am. But other people have their own beliefs, and that's fine. I don't begrudge them that. I just simply say, I know how I'm treated here, and I know what I expect to happen in the future. And yes, a lot of that bleeds through in other parts of my statements about life, but that's just how I feel. That doesn't mean that those who believe that they are, they were the people who actually were on this land first. I mean, not the Native American. There are people who believe that they were foundational, that they were here first. They are indigenous. And yet they still have no claim to this country that's actually tangible. They're not tangibly owning anything. So we all are in the same spot. So it kind of falls to a thing where you kind of just have to say, how can I move forward? What can we find to be the thing that we can all agree on? And that be it. But everyone that has a belief tends to want to make their ideal the driving force of what puts you together. And that's where we all butt heads. Because you look at these people in the panel, they all have different understandings about what this person does or that group does or how they live. And that's why they feel like they have issues with them. But that doesn't stop, it hasn't stopped any of them from being on the panel. So to some degree, they were able to succeed in Africa. They were able to do some things and move forward. Whereas here we are, you have individuals who succeed, but they have to disown everything about what they are, that they can't deny. We are clearly brown people. Even that title has been taken. None of us are actually black, but we are told that, oh, you're the black people. So it's so many things that we just have to recognize. Okay, we find one thing that we can agree upon and we move forward in that force. And clearly it's not going to be nonviolence. That can't be the thing because we tried it and it didn't work. So we have to try something else, but we do have to find someone to galvanize us together and move forward behind or with or beside them in us elevating our position in this place. I yield.
All right, yeah, definitely. Ever had came on here, but he dropped off. He can come back. But what up, MG2?
Just love listening to Sister Shanique. I just like to just listen, listening to basically the conversation. When you asked about what groups and whatnot, and maybe it's just my age and whatnot nowadays, where I'm kind of, I guess you could call it nonplussed or not very, I won't say apathetic to it, but I know you probably heard about the young sister the other day that got killed by a cop over there in Columbus, pregnant. She was pregnant.
Yeah, pregnant sister. Yeah.
Yeah, I think her name was Takira. Takira. And then I know that you probably saw the thing last night, or I think it happened maybe if not earlier today. I think it was either today or yesterday, and it looked like a little Peckerwood, about 45 years old, takes the cane away from a black woman, an elder who's disabled, and he's beating her like relentlessly with her own cane. I saw that, and it looked like a white boy. I had to see it. I'm sorry?
No, I said for real?
Yeah, that was, I think, in New York. I saw it like maybe 5 or 6 times just to try to see, my eyes aren't that good. So I wanted to make sure that I was looking at what I was looking at. And it looked like, a white boy just took the cane. And I mean, he was just beating it, and he broke the cane over. That's how many times he beat her. But and it may be just my eyes, but that's what it looked like. I mean, this is when you talked about these group scenario, and I'm gonna bring the conversation around to what you're talking about, whether it's ADOS or Nation of Islam or Moors or Kemet's, it doesn't matter who we are or what we want to identify as. I ask myself, how do these depictions we call ourselves, no matter what it is. Oh, I'm a RBG, I'm a Crip, I'm a Blood, I'm a ADOS, I'm a Nation of Islam, I'm a Christian, whatever. How does that prevent young black sisters who are pregnant from getting shot by cops? I mean, if it does, let me know, and I'll sign under whatever moniker, depiction, group, club, homie, village, team, clique, whatever, gang, I'll sign. How does it prevent an elder black woman getting beat with her own cane, and literally to where the cane is, and it looked like a sister, they literally broke the cane on her head. So, I mean, I'm just kind of wondering, how does this stop that? And let me know which group does, and I'll sign up tonight. Let me know which one is definitely got, to where they're able to go into these streets and, kind of fix the problems that are out there. Let me know which one it is, Brother Forecast. And maybe just me being cynical, but I just have to ask myself, out of all the groups and all the clubs and all the cliques, like I said, my dad and Farrakhan went back before he even joined the nation. Okay. And still yet, many times I told my dad, I said, look, both of you guys are misled. Both of you just don't get it, because I have not seen any of these, the Kemet's, the Moors, the indigenous, what. You let me know which group it is, and I'll go ahead and sign up instantly. But I just wanted to put that out there for you.
Yeah, and MG2, none of the groups that I've seen, and what's interesting, like, just take since it's the last thing with Alabama, right? What if they would have stopped him? Like, hold on, where you from? What you believe in? Are you this or that? You know what I'm saying? Instead of picking up a chair and doing what you got to do, like, I don't know. But Everett, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, Forecast, how you doing, my brother? I'm doing well. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Oh man, I'm here. I'm heading home, and I'm listening, and it's like it's we are people that do have an identity. Even Farrakhan says we are the children of God. Talking about when he said children of God, he ain't talking about from the Islamic terms. He's talking about from descendants of a certain group of people. Even Netanyahu would sit there and say, "Oh, this is 2019 when they turn the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem," and he was like, "The Temple Mount is in our hands, as in the days of the Maccabees." And he literally quote when he said the days of the Maccabees, that was literally a successful civil rights movement. It was bloody, but it was successful against our oppressors. At the time was the Greeks. So we have the imposters literally using our history, our heroes, and we don't have a clue. And the Bible strictly says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." So, you know, when MK2, when he says, show me like the results of like, you know, when it comes to the crimes against us and the stuff that we had to face for the last 2,000 years, especially the last 400 years here. Literally, if you understand the theme of the Bible is a group of people, they don't keep the laws, they go into captivity. When they start keeping the laws, they start singing Kumbaya, my Lord, to come back to us. All of a sudden, he sent judges. He sent judges, which were actually some of my heroes. He sent prophets. He sent apostles, literally, and nothing changed. We live in sin. These special people, they can get away with a lot of stuff. Other people get away with a lot, but we can't. You know, when you're talking about, I don't care if it's South Africa, I don't care if you're Balfour, which is the Igbos of Nigeria. I don't care if you're African American. Like I said yesterday, at least there's 12 cities we can't even get clean running water. And we got to realize something. Are we trying to live upright lives? I'm going to let you know right now. The Bible says 2/3 of us are. So you think about it. We have a lot of us is very serious, you know, like Kyrie Irving, trying to get us back to our roots. Even Kanye and his crazy soul trying to get us back to our roots. You just played a video where the lady was saying, Africa, we there. But yeah, is there's a lot of twerking going along at graduation parties? Is there a lot of people? Like, I heard something about people sold their house just to go to a Beyonce concert. That's not righteousness. You know, it's a lot of stuff that, again, we are held to a higher standard because of our bloodline. But can we be in the same accord? Because I remember many years ago, Forecast, you said we have to find our code. I'm talking about that code's been written for us for a long time. That means if you in Islam, if you in 7 Days Adventist, it could be in all these different religions that came up way after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Islam didn't come to like 750 years later. And Christianity even started to like 350 years later after Christ. All this stuff, as long as we get caught up in that, instead of going into reading the book, not listen to the pastors who are Freemasons and everything else, people that are sent there to misguide us, which is also spoke about in the Bible. But if we were to go into reading the book, you start to realize we are scattered to all four corners of the world. That's why when Malcolm X started going to the Pan-African movement, all of a sudden there was a mark on his back for assassination. Before then, it wasn't the case. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to, you got to remember, the slave ship made local stops. Same bloodline, same people. But yeah, it started in Brazil, started in South America, and it went up to Caribbean. It's here in America. It's all written in the Bible. So all I'm saying at the end of the day, we do have a code. Awakening. You know, when I hear you say ADOS, I think about American descendants of slaves. And the last days are supposed to be an awakening of who we are as a people. And we should wake up to understand about the sins of our fathers. We should literally awake. So now, after 2020, everyone's talking about awake, awake, awake. And that means, blacks are moving from Democrats to Republicans now. No, that's not biblical. What's biblical is, in the place of our captivity, we shall be awakened to who we are. which is going to represent the times and the days that we live in. Now, I could be talking total nonsense, but how would y'all know until y'all start really combing inside the book? Don't listen to the pastor. Don't listen to the reverend. Don't listen to anyone that got any hats on. That's really getting deep into prayer, getting the Holy Spirit, and reading to the book. And you realize that half of the Old Testament is end time prophecy. Literally, it's literally what's happening, what's going on right now as we speak, and what we're going heading into. So if the world gets shut down, or what's going on between the kings of the East, we start looking at what's going on with Netanyahu and China, and we're about to be in the middle of a world war. This whole world gets shut down because of pandemic, which could be actually one of the seals that was open in the Bible. Or John in the island of Patmos, when he says people won't be able to buy and sell unless they have a mark of the beast, which people in Europe and China had this technology to actually buy and sell with the mark. It's crazy, all the stuff that we suffer through because of lack of knowledge. Yeah, I yield.
All right, hold on, because my brother Maurice Muhammad came on here, but I gotta say this, like even my brother, like even like some of the things what you're saying, like the problem is, right, like until we are able to leave some of this stuff, like all that kind of stuff, at like you could, like I think that you should have it, you should use it, you know what I'm saying, but until we are able to like leave that stuff at the door to come to the place to talk real, like actual, like when I say real politics, I'm just saying like how we gonna make this particular plan that we working on, a specific plan that we could do, like no matter what you believe in, and one of the things when you saying like because my brother, until we take whatever it is, like just to follow the rules of nature, if somebody come and take your stuff, you have to either stop them from taking it or they're going to take it, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to be, it is what it is, and also, like bro, that's just what it is. They just came up, they had whatever, and then we can't believe like it's like I disagree with saying like anything about being cursed or anything like that, because that means we don't have the power in our hands, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like not to anything that we're saying, but that goes with the tribal wars as well, because my brother Maurice Muhammad just came on here, right? And he is a Muslim brother, you know what I'm saying? That's my brother. You are a Hebrew Israelite brother. That's my brother. It's no different from the tribal wars though, my brother, because like that's the problem. Until we are able to leave all of this stuff at the door, which is hard, we just watched them say like like I know you probably wouldn't agree with that dude, you know what I'm saying, but he was saying I look down on black people because we are the Hebrews, and this person said, all right, well, I'm a Muslim, so I look down on the Christians, and then the Christians said, well, I look down on the Hebrews and all of this stuff, like, but none of them said they look down on the white South African, like, and this was the trap that caught us before even where we are at, but it's no different from the tribal wars. Like I would have asked you, would you work with my brother Maurice Muhammad if y'all was trying to like develop a software or something or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? Like he believes what he believes, you believe what you believe, and like it's not going to be, but would y'all be able to work together to create something, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'll let Maurice Muhammad speak, and then MD2 and Shanique and Everett, you know what I'm saying? But go ahead, my brother. What's going on, Maurice Muhammad?
Peace and blessings, brother Forecast. How you doing, big bro?
I'm good, my brother.
All right, excellent. This is an excellent topic. I just wanted to chime in real quickly because I think it was brother MDK was speaking about what others are not doing. And for me, I would definitely answer your question of I would work with our brother who's a Hebrew. I work with our sister who's a Christian, or whatever the religion is. It doesn't prevent me from working with you, because our common goal is getting this cracker off our back. That for B1, the group that I lead, which doesn't have any religious affiliation. We have all Christian, Muslim, Seventh-day Adventists. We got Hebrew Israelites. We all recognize that we are one people who love each other, and we want the destruction of our enemies. So that's what we unite on, and that's what we build and go off of. But we also have to realize this too, that with us being so vast, and I'm speaking of Black people, period, in America and spread out, the news is not going to show you every time a Black man stands up for a Black woman or one brother comes in to cover down for another brother. The news is not going to show you that. So we cannot act like it's not happening. We just don't know where it's happening. Now, the example that our brother gave with, the elderly sister being, beat by the cracker with her own cane. Yeah, that's 1,000% wrong. But I know if I was there, he wouldn't have done that, not in my presence, and not be dealt with. And I'm quite sure in a lot of other brothers and sisters present and not be dealt with. But there's work being done all over. It's just not getting the TV attention. And so we have to also understand that being in a war, and war is deceit, but it's deceit backed by strategy to change how you think about yourself and the process of war. And so the biggest thing that the enemy has is his ability to subvert us. And he does it every single day and every single night. And so when they take stories like that and throw it out there, it sends the image of, look at these. Ain't nobody coming in to help this person. Ain't nobody doing this. Or send another negative story where, Black people robbing from each other and doing this. We got these niggas will never come together. Da, 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 da. But that's part of their thing, is to keep you mentally subjected. Keep you that mentally so you don't even think on the level of, we got to be able to come together. It's like a few years ago, Brother Forecast, I learned this from you because we were talking about our people and they were doing some of the wrong things. And we were condemning them. And you said, what you're seeing or what you're condemning is part of the sickness from being under white supremacy. And as I thought on what you were saying and saw the truth in that, then I was able to switch up my view and understand that it's not them, it's the illness that they have been under. It's that treatment that they have been under that made them sick. They are a victim attacking another victim, and neither understand that they're victims. So with me, with the knowledge that I have, now it's how I relate the medicine to cure both of them so that they will be able to recognize themselves, recognize each other. Then now let's turn to deal with our real enemy. And I think that this is the approach that we who are, I would consider us to be the carriers of light. We have to be able to understand this approach, understand this tactic, and make it successful. We have to have a programmatic push to make this thing successful. Because it's about going over and then being able to use the word, converting our people who are niggardly minded and doing a transplant and letting them understand who they really are and what their true mission is. And now you got to come to yourself. You got to accept your own and be yourself. Now you got to start that process of killing that nigger within you. So the God within you will reign supreme. And then the work that we do together will eliminate the enemy without us even really having to do much. But we work together in that programmatic thrust. So I just wanted to add that, dear brother. And I thank you for allowing me on. And I raise my mic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was about to text you to John too, because I kind of figured but I wasn't even gonna do the topic, but and it was supposed to go to Shanique, but they kind of called out. Well, I said MG2, both of them, and I will say this too, because you also mentioned something like we don't even have to call us. We could. This one clone dude I talked about, he was like, he called us the sun people, the sun words. You know what I'm saying? We could be the sun words as long as we sun words first, and that means first. That means over everything. Like I'm saying only, you know what I'm saying? But that's before. Like when I say that, I'm a sun word before I'm a man or all that. I'm not gonna line with straight dudes, like straight white dudes, straight whatever. No, it's black man, woman, child only. You know what I'm saying? And also, I do agree with MG2 what he's saying, because when we say like what do we have, like we can't dispose of our own feces at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like we have dropped the ball like pretty bad, and we got to pick it up. You know, so I agree with what MG2 say. Like, what have we done out of any group? You know what I'm saying? Like out of all of these separations that we create. You know, it go to Shanique, but Shanique, you mind? Because we can go, but I kind of wanted to let MG2, because I know he wanted to kind of say what he wanted to say back to what they were saying.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, MG2.
Yeah, from what I believe, and I may be wrong, I think there's like 39 books of their so-called Bible, and I say their Bible because it's not ours. You've got like, I guess it's the one out of Italy, the Volk. I can't remember, it's VUL something, and then you got, I mean, from what I believe, there's a lot of different books, so I'm kind of wondering which one. You got different versions, I didn't know this, of Quran that other individuals, their interpretations of, and I didn't know that. Well, I did know, of course, you got different religions, Sufi, you got Shia, you've got all different, they practice Islam differently, and when I was in Philippines and southern Thailand, they practice things a little differently. When I was in Indonesia and Kuala Lumpur, they practice things a little differently, especially than when I was in, it's different in West Africa than it is in East Africa. And that's a lot of Islamic. So, I get to thinking, in today's environment, which one of these books, which one of these religions, which one, I don't care which one it is really paying your water bill for you. Okay, or doing your medical care, or shooting at cops that shoot at us. I mean, I really wonder, or killing crackers that walk into a Dollar Tree store that just go, haphazardly like to, just shoot us down, whether it's that or Cub Foods, or even in a church, where you're a Christian and you're supposedly worshiping their gods. I just kind of because clearly Christianity was not something that, as far as I know, there was in ancient Africa, but yet Africans are representing or worshiping that, and 9 of them got killed. So I'm just wondering, which one of these, for lack of a better term, or not just something that happened 2,000 years ago, something that's happened today, or earlier this afternoon when a sister got beat by a peckerwood with her own cane, which I just, I haven't seen it yet. I may be wrong. Maybe it's just that I'm, kind of lazy or whatnot, but I've seen, at least in the last 60 years, that certain things are not necessarily working. And I like things that are working, things that have a track record, not history, not facts, not the evidence, not the truth. It's like, that's like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. I want to see the record. I want to see a record that says, oh, if you do this, then that will help you out. And not in a ephemeral type of, very cerebral or ideological way, they'll help you out if you believe and you got faith and this and that. I love that. But I want to see which one will help me load a gun. Which religion? Which religion will tell me, which book of their Bible or their Quran says, this is how you load a particular gun, or how to build a nuke, or how to plant seeds so therefore you could feed an entire neighborhood. This is the one, how, if you break your toe, read Psalms chapter 3, verse 9, and that'll tell you how to go ahead and fix your foot. I'm looking, and I've been studying it. I still can't find it. Which one says, okay, hey, you got ingrown toenails, go to Ecclesiastics or go to the 4th verse of Quran, and you'll figure it out how to get rid of eczema. I'm looking for the things, Brother Forecast, that, and I know I'm sounding facetious, but we got to be real, black folk, because sooner or later you're going to be pressed with things that are not for internet use and internet fun only, and things you're going to be pressed pretty soon in this chaotic, for lack of a better term, this world which is a representation of European madness, because we don't own it as Africans. So we're living out their madness, even if it's the water you drink, the air you breathe, the foods you eat, the destruction that's around you, the plastics in your body. That's a result of this European Neanderthal madness. These crackers they literally set the world on fire, and it's up to us to go ahead and put that fire out, or at least get warm and burn them. So the thing is sooner or later, irrespective of what we believe in, and I may be wrong, maybe I'm in a Pollyannish, very blissfully unaware thing. Hey, it happens when you get older, but sooner or later you might be faced. I'm not saying you will be, but you may be faced with things that are going to be more in terms of priority than the things that we hold on to spiritually. Everybody's got to hold on to their spiritual identity. Hey, that's cool. Do what you got to do. But sooner or later, a priority may kick up, whether it's a zombie apocalypse, a race war, or a nuclear war. You might be pressed. I'm not saying it will, but you might be pressed with more prioritized things in terms of, if you cannot find how to load a pistol in John, chapter 3, whatever, or you can't find out how to go ahead and filter water, or stop the rednecks from going ahead and burning your house down somewhere in the 3rd verse of the Quran. Sooner or later, you might end up, not saying you will, but you may end up having to focus on what's going to be more of a priority, because you're living in a world that's becoming more militaristic, cynical, demanding, wanting, connected, informed, cronyistic, protectionist, sectarian, racist, mistrusting, militarized, dangerous. You're living in that kind of environment, and I don't see it, kind of filtering out and getting the other way anytime soon. I think it'll be exponentially getting worse. The more and more that we're not taking control of this planet as Black folk, the more and more I could see that the trajectory of this planet getting against us is only going to be worse. So I'm just going to put it out there that you may want to be faced with a shifting, or maybe a refocusing of what the priorities are outside of the spirituality that keeps internet views happening. Anyways, I'll go ahead and pass the mic.
Yeah. Hey, MG2, did you see that church in Pennsylvania that turned away the white boy? The pastor said he's gonna get more armed security.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I look for it on so a white boy saying he's getting security.
No. A white boy was ready to shoot up a black church in Pennsylvania the other day, and the church stopped him. He was like, "Yeah, thank God. If he would have came an hour later, praise Jesus." And he was like, but he was like, at the end, he was like, "I'm gonna get more armed security." The black pastor for this black church, he was like, "I'm gonna get more armed security." I'm paraphrasing. He pretty much was like, "Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition."
Oh, great! Maybe we could do that, in schools and in grocery stores and in Dollar Generals. I mean, like I said, sooner or later, Brother Forecast, our priorities might have to be more focused away from the things that we idealize, and more toward the things that will keep us alive in this world that's run amok with European stupidity. But anyways, I'll pass the mic there, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, definitely. My bad, Shanique. Thank you, Shanique, for God, MG2 wanted to say that, but go ahead, Shanique, go in.
Oh, no problem. It's funny that MG2 said that. I appreciate that, because it made me think about what the word actually does say. I'm not going to give you verse in scripture, but the top of my mind, there's a verse that says, "He maketh my hands to war." And people always this is the thing. I'm not a Christian. I am ethnically an Israelite, right? So I stopped going to church because that's the hijacking of my culture. No different than people think that hip hop is Black culture hijacked and bought and all of that. So when it comes to what it is I believe, that's the seat of my motivation. So if I believe that my father says that we will be the head and not the tail, so be it. Like my husband mentioned, Maccabees, there was a war. There were my ancestors came to recognizing that through spiritual understanding, that and the word and reading their ancestral book, that this is now the time to uprise. So I feel like the verses, they may have hijacked them, but they do tell us in those verses, if people examine them and look at them as a historical document and not the vestiges of someone's religion, because that is what people have done to it. I don't think that anyone would, if they looked at it that way, would not recognize that there is something that either spurs in you or it does not. And if it does not, it just does not. There's no crime in that. You are not that individual spiritually. You are not that individual as a person inside. So that's fine. But for me, I recognize that. And that being said, I have to move a certain way. There are so many things that are going on in this world. The word tells you how to move. It does not say, do not have a sword. Christ said, he said, is it that I should get a sword? He said, no, get two. So we have always been told through the lens of our oppressor what the word says, and then their proxy individuals what the word says. But sadly, we've not decided to go in and examine it for ourselves. We don't even want to venture into believing that it's a thing. I guess we as a people who are melanated, who are oppressed, must believe that we hatch from an egg, because there has to be an inception for us. And if there's an inception, that there's somewhere that there's a root that you can backtrack and find out where we come from. The Neanderthals know where they came from in their caves, and they will proudly speak to that fact. So we know that historically is somewhere that we came from. It's not just the story that we were told by our oppressors, but we have to get past that hump. And as far as working with persons who are not of the same understanding of who they are, they may very well not even be Israel. Just because you're the same color doesn't mean we're, quote, the same tribe. We may not be the same bloodline of people. And that's fine, because we have managed to work together, all kinds of people, and build up this monstrosity of a nation. So clearly it can be done. It's just a matter of saying we will now work together with a like mind for what is of a melanated people's desires, not of those who lack it. And I think that's the problem, because we have drank so much of the tainted Kool-Aid that we really intrinsically hate the melanin. Just by and large, a lot of us. So we're seeking out other things, whether it be, I'm not black, I'm Christian. I'm not black, I'm a Republican, or whatever that thing is. But we have to set that part aside, because clearly it works working together to build something up, because we not only did we build up Egypt, we built up now. Now that's all about whether you believe the historical, but I would suggest, and I implore everyone to go and do the research. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research historically, not from a spiritual or a spooked out position, but from the fact of saying, I want to know, because the information is out there, who I am. I may not be Israel, and that's okay. There's a lot of Fulanis and other people who are not Israel. That's fine for them. But everybody has a lot. That book speaks about Israel, and it speaks about Ammon, and it speaks about Moab, but none of us know who that is, because we haven't looked into it. But we can tell you all of the Tudors' history. We can tell you all of the history of our oppressors, because we have been indoctrinated to do that. But if we don't sit and seek out our own information, then of course we can't get together and collectively work. Collectivity is a part of us. So we need to get that. And it works under force for their nation's upbuilding. So we could definitely do it for our own. But the one thing would be that we say, okay, I'm not going to try to impose my understanding on you. I'm going to allow you to do your research, and either you get it or you don't. Either you decide or you don't. But we still have to work toward this cause. And at the end, just like the book says, the chaff and the wheat, they get separated. The tares and the wheat get separated. So everybody has a finality. We just need to find out, how do we turn the tides in this existence right now? And I think that really has to do with us deciding to work together, regardless of what our belief is, for a purpose. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know, that's all I'm saying. Like, no matter what you believe in, like, we still have to work together. Like, at the end of the day, one thing we can agree on is our children are in danger. You know what I'm saying? So like, we can't impose our views or thoughts on any. That's why I kind of stay away from, like, the beliefs and all of that stuff, or, like, not even to say, like, it's a belief to say it that way, but you know what I mean. But I stay away from all of that kind of stuff, because I try to stick to the stuff that we know is the truth, that we have to figure out, because at the end of the day, like we agree on one thing, you know what I'm saying? We understand that, and we don't have time for, like, tribal wars. But go ahead, my brother Everett, my bad.
All right, this is for MG2. Now, and this is also for Bhawan. I remember he asked this question before about the different versions of the Bible. Now I'm looking at, I went to what you call the Bible Hub, and it has all the different versions. Let me show you. This is like, say, I might speak a form of English. Someone from Louisiana might speak a form of English. The Queen in England might speak a form of English. The Jamaicans might speak a form of English, but it's all English. So we could be talking about the same context. We're going to say it in a different way. For example, the NIV version might say, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, also reject you as my priest. Because you have ignored the law of God, I also will ignore your children. That's the NIV, the New International Version. Now you have the NLV translation. My people are destroyed because they don't know me. Since you priests refuse to know me, I refuse to recognize you as priests. You see, same context, but it's saying it in a different way. The English Standard, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being a priest to me. And I go to the Berean and so on. I go to the King James. So you want to see, that's the thing about the Bible. Just so y'all can have a different understand what the different versions means. All it's saying is just, all right, this version was made in 1940. In 2011, I come up with a different version with a newer form of English. Not necessarily new form of English, but just a new way of saying it. Because I cannot keep the same King James Old English, because now if I use that same Old English, I'll lose everyone. So I'll find a way to modernize it. Now, I also want to talk about the spirituality, which is the power, meaning that if you was to put Manifest Destiny in your Google search, you see a woman floating across the plains of America. And these colonizers would say, is they given right to rule? And I could tell you off the top, that also come from the Bible too, because like I said, everything is written, is what's going to happen. That's why it says those that led into captivity will go to captivity. That's how we know that some people are about to go into captivity. And there's a few places in the Bible it says in the last days people are going into captivity, because destiny will manifest itself in time. But long story short, when you start to look at Colombia and that woman floating across the plain, or Statue of Liberty, which is Colombia, or that thing you call Virgin Mary, this is between Virginia and Maryland, which is in the middle of Colombia. We live under a frequency that gives certain people power. So yes, if a black man does something, they could unite so quick, so fast for a lynch. It could be a population of 4,000 people. All of a sudden, 50,000 people they're ready to lynch you behind. And we're not thinking that's a spiritual thing, but it is spiritual. As a matter of fact, everything about, even the December 25th, everything, Easter, everything we do since Christianity, which is their gods, their blonde hair, blue eye, all that stuff is actually a frequency that we under that gives them the power. So yeah, they will come to a house burning a cross. And yes, the Grand Wizard is literally a wizard. Yes, there's really a lot of spirituality, and that's the thing. They are on a higher frequency when it comes to the spiritual realm. This blood got to.
Let me ask you this real quick, because you was like Manifest Destiny. Like, what did they use to actually get the land though? Like on the physical realm though, like what did they use to, like, how did they get the land?
Well, you got to remember the Bible said Esau will live by the sword. So that means even not only going to live by the sword, that means you could have treaties. You're not going to hold on to one treaty. You know, everything they're going to do is very underhanded. It's going to be very wicked. And that's what's expected out of them. You know, and yeah, what they do to get the land. And remind you, to get the land, they had to use what you call Moors, people that already knew the land, knew the people of the land, that could translate for them. And it gets very deep when you started talking about the Spanish Inquisition, or who were the Moors, or they call Morenos, or they call us niggers, but who were the Negro? You know, or that goes back to Sephardic Jews, which we all are. It gets very deep. But yeah, but you're right. So when you look in the physical level, everything that happens in the physical plane starts in the spiritual realm. And Hollywood have been trying to tell us for a while. You know, so if we look at the stuff that's going on, that's when we're going to start talking about Haiti. The reason why they was able to beat 3 world powers. Yeah, there was less manned, but yeah, the type of blood they shed, how hard they was worshiping their God that Ashanti God, Tata Zombie, where you get the word zombies from, how hard they was going in that voodoo. Yes, they had the help of the spiritual realm. Only problem is they did true children of God. You could temporarily use these false gods, but ultimately, yeah, you're gonna be paying reparations in 2014, and yeah, you're gonna be hit with a lot of earthquakes and hurricanes and everything, because you can't run from the true God of Israel. But I just want to give you just a hint of how deep. When I say, people say, "Oh, I'm a Freemason," and Jay-Z throwing up the rock symbol, and people throwing up different signs and symbols to show you that it's about the spiritual realm, and that's literally hidden in plain sight. Every federal building we go to is showing you where they gain their power, why they have a mighty military. You know, bottom line is we have access to something even greater, and that's what Christ is trying to tell us. But as long as we're trying to be like them, and we not them, we losing our power, and that was the problem with integration. Anyway, like I said, it's very deep, bro. It's layers to this.
Yeah, I know, I feel you, but like I gotta pass it, but like real quick, right? Because that's the point, though, my brother. Like even when you're saying all of that, it's like it's gonna be some people that like no matter what you say is not gonna be like with that, you know. Like, and the point is, like my brother Maurice Muhammad, he may be like in the NOI, you know what I'm saying? But are y'all willing to put aside whether he like is in it, or like would you say like he has to like accept, you know what I'm saying, the truth or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to like for you to work with him, you know? Like if y'all working for schools for black children, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, we work together. We will work together. We will work together. But you know, it's one thing. We could work together for the common good, for the common goal. That's people across the boards.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, when we sit down at the table, you know, what are our conversations? I'm not gonna sit there and told you about LeBron James and him breaking the record.
No.
I'm gonna try to, or I'm gonna try to teach you. Listen, our history it's not a fantasy. Our history is a real history. Now, if he even if he can hear off a bear, you know what I'm saying. But bottom line is, I need to take things to another plane to be like, listen, you know, we have to wake up as a people. But as far as working together, oh man, I would love to.
But that's what I'm saying, my brother. Like that's why even like why even leave any of that stuff about what I believe or anybody, because we understand that the more urgent thing is like our children need help immediately. So we're gonna talk about like we're gonna leave that. So we like if we're gonna have like even if we talk about that, I think that we should use it like the platforms they used it on, you know what I'm saying, where they getting paid for like all of that, because we aren't gonna agree on certain things, but certain like we need to focus on the things that's actually building like right now, like how we're gonna build it. Not saying like whatever brought you to this moment, you know what I'm saying, it's whatever. But like with him and him, like even if y'all only talk about like, oh yeah, we have this company, construction company, so we only talk about the construction company and we do our own thing on our own time, you know what I'm saying, like that's all we need to do, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. And I think another thing, because I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna let my brother Maurice Muhammad go, and then go ahead, my brother.
Thank you, dear brother. I just wanted to say a few things. Being a person who used to be in the military, an ex-soldier for the U.S., and have been in combat. I've been in combat with people who had no faith. I've been in combat with people who had faith. My preference, if I'm going to go into battle, I would rather go into battle with somebody who had some type of spiritual faith. I have seen people who don't believe in no God whatsoever be in that battlefield and crumble before your face, scared to go left, right, forward, scared to even shoot back. But you will have a brother or sister that, you know, believes in the Bible, believes in Jesus, you know, and they Christian walk, but they will kiss that cross, say, Jesus got me, and pick up that weapon and start shooting and moving out and doing what needs to be done. And I say that because there will be times in our lives, maybe nobody here on the panel, but there'll be times in our people's lives where they have to be able to call on something. They have to be able to pull strength from somewhere. And most times that's their faith that they get it from. And so, like Brother Malcolm said, we need to have our own little conference. And you can leave your religion at the door. Because if you bring that in trying to proselytize each other, you ain't going to do nothing but get into there and begin fighting each other. And it's unnecessary because we have a bigger enemy. Now, we have a program that we do. Now, I do talk about Christianity. I do talk about Christianity, that the way that it's taught, the white man's version of it. And I do explain to our people where they get this from. And I break that stuff down very succinctly so that you can understand exactly what's going on. Because there has been miseducation through the Bible, which allows our enemy to continue to control and manipulate our people. And as our sister was talking about references in the Bible where it talks about war, where, you're not supposed to be just letting your enemy do anything to you, where it talks about, who is your neighbor? And Jesus never said your neighbor is the person who lives next door. He never said that. He said that the neighbor is the one who was doing good to you. He gave an illustration of a man that was beat up, wounded in the road, and the priest walked by, the Jew walked by, but the good Samaritan aided him. That was the man's neighbor. So, those things, I think that as a whole, we should consider when we're talking about the faith of our people and bringing them out of the foolishness. And John Henry Clark, I wish you had the clip, dear brother, spoke about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Islam that was introduced by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he said, this is a new Islam. This Islam don't follow them in the West. You are not to follow them. And John Henry Clark said that if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tried to introduce an orthodox form of Arab-oriented Islam, that he wouldn't have been able to attract 500 people. But he introduced a form of Islam that would communicate with the people he had to deal with. He furthermore said that he was the king of those who had no king. He was the Messiah to those some people thought were unworthy of a Messiah. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad resurrected black people, period, point blank. That work is there, and it's unarguable. It is what it is. And so I look to not make every black person that I come in contact with come into the fold of the understanding of the Nation of Islam. And you should be this and you should be that. That's not my thing. My thing is to teach truth. Wherever you are, teach truth, because it's that truth that's going to liberate us and give us that backbone that we need to go out here and do what needs to be done to destroy our enemy. Because whether we like it or not, there will come a day, it's coming very, very fast, where we will fight this cracker on each and every block. We will fight this cracker physically. And you need to be ready for it. You need to be ready. So I'll always keep saying that over and over so it can penetrate your mind to let you know when you see something, oh, this is what Brother Muhammad was talking about. We ready. We ready. Because it's coming. It's coming, and you can't pray it away. You can't beg it away. The fight is coming, and we have to be ready for it. And we have to be able to see in each other our own vested interest that we need each other. Because literally, as you say, brother, we're all we got. We're all we got. And so we can't afford to be banging on each other. Let's teach each other in love. Teach each other in love so that they can understand that you're not attacking them. You're trying to open my eyes to show me something I didn't see. Because none of us know everything. But there's aspects of what we're doing that somebody may have a better degree of knowledge on that can aid us in doing what we do. And so my thing is that, we come together in unity. We come together in peace, because it's just like we've heard it all the time. The enemy say, peace is secured through strength. Peace is secured through strength. But that ain't his word. That's God's word. That's God's word. Peace is secured through strength. That's God's word, it's not his. But if we're not studying and we're not understanding, we'll never know where they got that from. We think that they came up with it. No, that's God's word. Peace is secured through strength. We're not supposed to be no punks. We're not supposed to be pushed around and done this and done that. It's not supposed to happen. But when we are taught right, then we should be able to live right. And when that foolishness come our way, we will destroy it. And I thank you, dear brother, for allowing me to say these words, and I will rest my mind.
Yeah, definitely, my brother. Yeah, and I feel what you're saying. And I'll say this. I don't know where Matron at, you know what I'm saying? I like trolling Matron, so I'm just messing with her, but I don't know where she at to defend all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying, that's going on. But like, the crazy part is we didn't even get to our beefs about where we live at yet, you know what I'm saying? This is just the first part of it, I guess, you know what I'm saying, of many, like, oh yeah, I forgot the gender thing, and then the age thing, and then I was just talking about something. But the one thing that I will say is this though, and not to, don't take it the wrong way, like MD2, let me ask you, because it's your turn to speak. What religion was the brother that swam off the boat? Did he, you know what I'm saying, read the thing, or like, do you know what he believes in?
Yeah, I think he believes in the treading watertarian. I think that's what he was, a treading watertarian. It's a new religion of when there's a fight that goes down, that you will swim and part the waters like Moses in order to get to that fight. So I think that he was probably watching Charlton Heston, that movie Moses, because he parted the waters better than Charlton Heston to go ahead and throw some blows. And if that's the religion that he's part of, shoot, I'll sign up in it. I'll follow him like Reverend Sun Myung Moon, because that brother knows how to tread water to kick some ass. So, I mean, the thing is, Brother Forecast, is all I care is what is practical and what can be used and what could actually make us not just free ourselves or get justice. I want to take over the world. As an African people, I want us on top. And the old world of mortals, which are not African or not black folks, I want them underneath our feet. So our feet don't touch the ground and get dirty because we're walking on so many bodies. That's just, and it might be a pie in the sky dream I have, but that's what I want. I don't want my shoes to get dirty because I'm walking on the bodies of my enemy. That's the kind of mindset that I don't think that, that these books and everything else and these ideologies that we've adopted. I may be wrong, but I'm not seeing evidence of it. I'm seeing evidence of us believing in things, and I'm not sure if we're practically applying those things we believe in. I mean, for instance, Everett said so very well, and I'm glad he said that about these this thing they call their Bible, and I say theirs because I think Nat Turner's Bible was a little different than theirs, and his was more effective than the ones that you probably get at your local Christian store or whatever store, because his Bible from Bookman Duddy, or Duddy Bookman, said, hey, we got to throw away the white man's God because we're going to war. And clearly that Bible was more effective because of the fact that because of Duddy Bookman, Haiti was freed from, Rochambeau and Napoleon and everything else, because they practically applied something that may be of deterministic as a quote unquote Israelite or Christian religion. They applied it. I'm not seeing the same parallels to practically applying spirituality in today's world. Don't ask me, ask young brother Stephen Ford, who got killed by a cop 2 days ago. Okay. And he was only 17. So the thing is it may be as when Everett was saying, I'm glad he said that, because I have to ask myself, if all these different forms of Bible are the same and the same thing, why is Mark 16, which originally ended on verse 8, somebody, they don't even know who did it. So it came out of nowhere, but verse 9 through 20 came out, and now they're trying to find the mysterious world, where's Waldo, who added those verses? Nobody knows. Nobody knows why they were added, who put it in, or what they meant. So I'm just kind of, again, these are just certain things, and there's so many different contradictions between, you could get a Mormon so-called version and a Catholic or a Christian version, and they might have the same verse, and they're all saying three different things. I'm not saying, but what's more important is whatever verse we want to follow, is it being practically applied? I don't care who which verses or whatever. Just hopefully that whatever it is that we as African or as Black folk practically apply the things that we spiritualize, whether it's a Quran, whether it's a Gehunzen, or whether it's a Bible. If we're practically applying whatever it is, I'm all for it. Teach me which one it is, and dang it, I'll apply it in a second. I mean, I got to be real. Sister Shanique was talking about, I believe it was Psalms verse 1834, and which is a really nice verse. Okay, in terms of if I'm not mistaken, I think it's something like he maketh my hands, or he teacheth my hands to make war, or something like that. So my arms can bend the bow of bronze. And it's something like, you give me your a sword or shield or something for your salvation, and the right hand has held me up. And I love that verse. Okay, I mean, it's beautiful, because it's the same verse that I get out of a manual of a Glock 19 Generation 5 or Smith & Wesson MP, the M&P Mark II, or I could even get it from a 6-hour P320. The same verse, because Brother Muhammad was talking about being in their military, and I don't say I say their military, and being in combat, of course, killing the enemies of white folks. Clearly, because if you're in combat in their military, that's what they teach you to do. And the thing is as Sister Shanique was talking about verse 1834, or Psalms 1834, yeah, he maketh my hand for war. Even if it's to kill his enemies, I don't care. But if I go to a manual of a 6-hour P320 personal firearm, or go to the Smith & Wesson MP, the Mark II, or the Glock 19 Generation 5, I'm pretty sure I could find Psalms 1834 somewhere in there, or whatever version, whether it's a Christian or a Catholic or an Israelite or whatever version of a Bible that somebody gives me. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find all those depictions, like Everett said, in one of those handgun manuals. And the reason I say that is because when Brother Muhammad was saying, hey, it's he was in with the ones that had more faith were the ones that would pretty much shoot first. I like that. I love that. But I don't care if you have faith or not. I don't care if you believe in Muslim, Buddhist, Israelite, Moors, Kemet's. I don't care if you're a Jew. I don't care what you are. Even if you believe in the Great Pumpkin and you got Charlie Brown, Linus, and Lucy with you. The bottom line is if you know how to shoot your enemy and you're standing next to me and we both got the same enemy, I don't care if you believe or don't believe. I don't care what verse, whether it's Psalms, Ecclesiastics, I don't care what verse you have to come to. Which Bible, as Everett says, that might say the same thing. I want to make sure you know which target to shoot. And if you need bullets, I got them for you, and vice versa. I don't care. I mean, the bottom line is what I'm saying is, with all the different things, whether you're a gender war, whether it's like Brother Forecast said, where do you live? Oh, I'm a dirty South, man. He's East Coast, West Coast, North Coast, or whatever you call yourselves.
I forgot that part of it too.
Yeah, I don't care what it is. Bottom line is, are we practically applying those ideologies that we are so beholden to, especially with the event of social media and internet? It's just exponentially grown and gotten out of hand. If you're gender war, hey, cool deal. But if I got an AR, 15 or something next to you, and you're not shooting that white boy that wants to get into a church, and he's going to kill us no different than, and he's in Pennsylvania this time, then maybe whatever we're believing in, whether it's spirituality, whether you think you're an indigenous Moor from the Kemet tribe of whatever, or you think that you're a manosphere or you're Eidos, chances are whatever we got is not being practically applied for our survival. I may be wrong, but clearly because we're having conversations like this on technology that other races invented, on things that we pay for, with medical care and food that other races provide us, with security that other races provide us, with transportation and cars and everything else, and shoes and clothing and toilet paper and even a place to piss that other races provide us. Clearly, I may be wrong, but it doesn't seem quite logical that what we believe in, we're practically applying to where we could do it for ourselves and destroy everyone else who clearly is profiting and exploiting us because we depend on them so much. Anyways, I'll pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, and before I go to the last thing, and I'll say this, and Shanique, you know, the one positive thing about all of it, Shanique, Everett, Maurice Muhammad, MD2, we all agree that if there is something actually like positive going on, that we would set our stuff aside and work together. That is the one positive thing about it, which is why I try to stay out of all of these tribal wars. And it's still like nails on the chalkboard, all of it. Like, I'm interested in listening to not only Black people say some certain stuff, because, like, you know, I listen to all kind of debates, you know what I'm saying? But the point is, when I try to fear, like, I was listening to something where they had a win, like the Indians, you know what I'm saying? They had a conference on how to use solar energy or something like that. Like, I forget exactly how they worded it, but that was the kind of conferences where they wasn't even talking about none of their tribal stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, they may have been Cherokee or, you know, whatever the hell they call themselves, you know what I'm saying? But they was talking about preserving energy, you know what I'm saying, using energy. And that's the whole thing. And so one positive thing I would say, you know, everybody at least agreed to that point, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of why I stay away from like the religious stuff and all that, because it turns into a debate. Now we're gonna use it to make profits, and then we're gonna donate it to X, Y, and Z. That's a whole nother thing. But you know, Shanique, do you want to say anything? Because it's other stuff I want to say. I don't know if y'all want to stay on, because I would hope so. But go ahead, Shanique.
Oh, I do actually have something I want to say. Again, I am so down for this thing that's the crowd fundraising, whatever idea you have it for, let's do it. I'm in. And secondly, I'd like to say that I feel that the reason we still struggle with tribalism is not random, it's by design. And the design is clearly this debatable idea of Willie Lynch, because ageism, sexism, gender, all of these things are an issue within our community, and we are still oppressed in this place, regardless of that fact. And the reason is because those things are promoted. That issue, that strife is promoted within our communities, just like drugs were pumped into our communities, just like bad food is put into our community. Like, this is all for a reason. But the problem is, how do you get everyone that is suffering from these issues to not be distracted by all of the things that are line by line in the Willie Lynch letter, to get us off focus from the idea that, oh, by the way, they still have their foot on your neck. So we have to understand that, for me, the galvanizing thing is, oh, wow, I understand who I am. That was clear. At that point, I realized, oh, I have to do something. And I believed always in a God. I always believed in that. But that was the galvanizing thing for me, that, oh, all of the things I have been told about who my people are was a lie. And now it all makes sense. And yes, they're Confederate. And then when you recognize that people are Confederate against you, it's no different than what we discussed, where we realize that we have no allies, that we have no friends, that there's always someone attempting to come in and try to throw a wrench in the works of our lives. But we have to get to a place where we say, okay, we're beyond going out to the club. We're beyond arguing about whether I that's my man or your man. We're beyond, oh, you make 30,000, I make 50,000, and it's because you're a man or you're a woman. Like, we have to get to this place where the crumbs that this place gives us are no longer sufficient to appease us to see that, oh, they still have their foot on our necks. The idea that we're so caught up in all of the things that they've planted to distract us, so much so that we have people online making excuses for why a woman is bashed upside her head, a Black woman, is hit upside her head by a Black man simply because she feigned his interest. I feel like we are just so eating the cheese, the programs, the projects, they work. And no one wants to see that. The idea that we are the moral people. We have always been the moral people, yet we allow all the traps and snares that they set about to convince us that, oh, because she did this online, or because she said this to him, or because she's disrespectful and they always act like they don't need a man. All of these different narratives that they pump into our communities. Before segregation, we did not need to worry about how to treat an older woman, a woman, whether a woman was a woman, what a man is, how a man treats a woman. Do we feed our kids, whether we need to have, how not, like all of these things were not issues to the extent that they are now, because they were not a part of us. These individuals that puppet this place are making it who we are. We are not random twerkers. We don't love our children. We are not, oh, those babies aren't mine. We are not that. That's what we're being told. And we're eating it up like Cheetos. And then we're watching all of the malaise that is existing like a funky disease just engulf us as a people. And we're upset. And no one can galvanize it, because you got those who feel like, oh, I believe in God, so I don't do that. So that's just them. But meanwhile, the pulpit is full of homosexual rapists and pedophiles. And so are the colleges, the schools, the organizations. All of these things are still going on in our community. And it has to have an inception. And I believe the inception is the presiding air of energy that runs this place. And we know it every time they come out with an FBI thing that, oh, this was a project they did. And oh yeah, they did have COINTELPRO and all of these things. So we know this. So how do we get past, if it's not going to be your faith, it has to be something. And we don't want it to get to the point where conditions are so intolerable that people finally go, okay, you know what? I don't care that you're old. I don't care that you're a single mother. I don't care about anything. Let's just work together. We don't want it to get to that place, but it's going there. It's going there. So we have to figure out, okay, let's just fight the enemy. Simple. Are you?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Because I gotta go to the last part before I do that. And I'll say this, I agree with what you're saying, and that's the thing, this tribal stuff is way deeper than, it's just on the thing. And I don't know where Matron, she got some explaining to do when she no, I'm just joking. But let me show y'all this, you know what I'm saying? And Shanique, you saw this part last night, but I just want to show y'all why we need to put our tribal differences aside, because I came up with something else because I didn't want to get into it. I skipped this, right? Because this was this white dude talking about, crime by race and all that, saying he actually said the Asian dude was the closest to the ape, you know what I'm saying? But yo, MD2, real quick, I don't think you see this shit. Did you see this before?
Which
McConnell?
one?
Mitch McConnell?
Which version of McConnell? The first time he froze or the second time he froze?
Right, the last one.
Yeah, I missed Dr. Freeze's last frozen moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Wow, I'm about to play it now. I know, this be my face sometimes when we have these tribal discussions. You know what I'm saying?
That's okay. What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for.
That's why I be like, what is what?
Election in 2026.
This is my face when they be saying stuff like, oh, because Bakari was saying some crazy stuff. This was my face yesterday.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
She came in loud as hell too.
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
Okay.
Yeah, brother Forecast.
Yeah.
I think the next time when black folk go to court, I don't care what it is. I think that we should study Mitch McConnell because I think, you know, if somebody's like, hey, instead of I plead the fifth, just plead Mitch, because you see how well that works. I mean, he just froze up, and he'll be dead probably by the end of the year, so it doesn't matter.
They let him go on with the interview, like dying in our faces. They let him go on with the interview.
Yeah, you know, but the thing that's scary though, Brother Forecast, is this Mitch McConnell is the one that placed judges out there that unfortunately have our fate as black folk in play. It was through him. And in other words, he's going out with his legacy of what can destroy us because we're unfortunately, amalgamated into this wicked so-called system that they have. So, you know, even though he's Dr. Freeze, unfortunately, we're the ones going to pay the price.
Yeah, and always. That's why when we be having these tribal conversations, like when people talk about the ADOS versus this or that versus that, this is my exact face. You know what I'm saying? I look just like Mitch McConnell when people do that. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? But
I hear you.
All right, so let me play this real quick, y'all. Why we should put our tribal differences to the side. I don't know if it's gonna play. Let me see.
Previously mentioned.
All right, so this 72-year-old black nurse, right, got attacked by this white chick who was a coworker, and so she hit her back, and so she got sentenced to 6 months in jail, like 70-some-year-old woman.
Sometimes I wish Annalise Keating was a real person because this nurse could have definitely used her in court. A judge in Minnesota sentenced a 72-year-old black woman to 6 months after a jury found her guilty of assaulting her white coworker. So the woman pictured right here is named Sybil Garbo, and she has been a LPN for over 40 years, and the Insider did a story about her case. So let's get into it. Nurse Garbo, who is 72 years old, and as I previously mentioned, has been a nurse for over 40 years, with not even a scratch on her record, no misdemeanors, no felonies, no issues at work, will be reporting to a medium security jail for a sentence of 6 months to be followed by 5 years of probation after a jury found her guilty of felony assault. In addition to that, once she has also been ordered to pay restitution, which she'll start to pay when she comes out, of $51,000. Now, a little bit more of a backstory. This woman, who is a nurse, Sybil Garbo, lives in Anoka County, which is in Minnesota. The population there is
I'm trying to show what happened.
Deaths, as most nurses do when they're about to start their shift. That's a part of the ritual. You clock Devlin Stitt, and she and her attorney refused to connect or give a comment on the situation. So Ms. Garbo's account is that she was disinfecting a desk, as most nurses do when they're about to start their shift. That's a part of the ritual. You clock in, you clear up your station. So that's on brand, okay? In an office with a can of aerosol spray. When Stitt, who apparently thought Garbo was intentionally spraying her, pushed Garbo in the chest. As Garbo reached with her left hand for the desktop phone to call for help, she says that Stitt used the phone to hit her hand. At that point, Garbo says she hit Stitt in the head with the aerosol can and then fled the room. Then Garbo goes on to say that even though she fled the room, she called her colleagues to get help for Stitt because she had a laceration to her head. And then she left.
All right, so pretty much, so the white chick pushed her, then hit her with her phone. Then, she hit her back and then ran, I guess. But she got arrested and got 6 months in prison. And
the facility to a friend.
My bad. Yeah, y'all got something to say, Everett, Shanique, this woman.
Oh my. The idea that this is even that this woman is going to jail, that she has to pay this woman back, like, this is insane to me, and yet it's reality. And if no one is like, I had no knowledge of this, but this is protestable. This is something that we should have an uproar about, because the idea that you can't defend yourself. Do you know how many times there have been situations that almost pop off with non-Black coworkers in different positions, that you have to have the level head because they really feel the righteous indignation to do something, and then you know that you have the upper hand. Now, this woman is in her late 70s, so it's still the other girl has a laceration because she gave her upside her head what she needed, and it was reflex. But the idea that she should have to do that they speak as though, oh, we aren't violent at all, but her first inclination was to push her because she thought something. I don't understand. And of course, this was a jury because all the peers there, it's like you just want to say, can we just leave? Can we not be around you at all? This is infuriating. That's all I have to say. I'm infuriated by this.
All right, yeah. What you got to say, Everett? Are you still there, my brother? Oh no, oh, he ain't there. MG2?
Yeah, to answer Shanique, I understand, and I definitely reflect your sentiments. I have to ask myself, no, I got to tell myself, I'm pretty sure that so-called judge was probably one of those ones that Mitch McConnell put in there. Remember, because Minnesota was supposed to be the site of the new Black resistance. I guess George Floyd and Philando Castile and everything else, I guess it didn't stick. Whatever happened then, I guess folks forgot about it a couple years later, clearly, because, they're putting a 72-year-old Black woman in jail. But the thing that I have to say is I'm proud of that sister, even if she goes to jail, because this is their system and that's what they do. And here's what I mean. This sister who is 72 years old, okay, who is facing these demons, without a doubt, before she leaves this planet, she got some licks in. She went ahead and at least got a little bit of more licks in than most of these ADOS or FBAs will ever do. She went and put her hands on a Peckerwood. And, however many years she's got left on this planet, hopefully she's got dozens. At later age, she could always look at herself and say, I don't care what they do to me. They put Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, they put a lot of folks in jail. That's their system. I even went to jail because of their system, not for some stupid stuff, because I went against 2 white GIs. And I wear that as a badge of honor. The fact that I was sitting there damn near getting ready to go to Guantanamo, that's how bad it was. I still wear it to this very day as a badge of honor. So I'm pretty sure that this sister is probably saying, you know what? I got mine. I got some licks in, and and I'm not saying a badge of honor going to jail like a rapper. That's foolishness. But when you can wear the fact that you were standing up for righteousness and you went against this devil, their so-called jails don't mean a goddamn thing. So I have to say that I'm pretty sure that this sister, even though it's hiring experience, $51,000, which hopefully she'll get out of, I'm pretty sure she will. Irrespective of that, she fought for what was right. And ain't no jail, ain't no so-called system, ain't no cracker, nobody out there is worth anything about, they're not even on the scale when it comes to doing the right thing. So hopefully this sister can look at it and say, hey, I don't care. I got a couple of licks in. This Peckerwood is wearing scars on her face because of me. Hey, I'll do 8 months because I'm proud of the fact that I stood up for what's right. Anyways, I'll pass the mic there, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. I agree with that definitely. All right, so this is a 93-year-old great grandmother, and they trying to take her land that they family owned since the 1800s right now, so they can build a Hilton
Island in South Carolina, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. 93, literally in the middle of what developers hope could be a new home community. But for Wright, it's so much more. CNN's Diane Gallagher reports.
We are connected to this land. Our blood runs through these trees.
No matter what, we will keep this land. So this land's going to be here with us if it's going to be another 200 years. That's the way we look at it.
But not everyone has that same view. The serene marsh and sandy beaches of Hilton Head Island have been home to the Gullah Geechee community since before America became America. But today,
And I'll tell you what, if the Black Indians go down there to stand up for that, I'll be a Black Indian, like, for the time being. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, help that. Like, that's the point, you know what I'm saying? Instead of arguing about stuff, like, you could have, and that's what I was saying about the, like, how they use their debate platforms to raise money. They'd be like, all these super chats are going to such and such donation. You could be like, well, all of these super chats is going to the First Sister's bail money, or, you know, to help this sister do whatever she got to do, or whatever you choose, you know.
Members say development threatens those families who still call it home.
Why should we give up such a precious gift that God has given us?
Josephine Wright has lived in this house on Hilton Head Island for 30 years, but she says her family's home has been on this land since the Civil War. Purchased by freedmen and passed down for generations. Her husband, a Gullah descendant, wanted to be sure to keep the land in the family after his passing.
I feel so much pride and comfort in knowing that this is where I will be for the rest of my life.
But the 93-year-old great-great-grandmother has felt little comfort here over the past few months.
This is when we start hearing the trees say boom, boom.
Wright is being sued by a company with plans to build 147 three-story townhomes along this Jonesville Road community, a historic Gullah Geechee neighborhood.
Our blood, sweat, and tears are in this land. My ancestors are buried here down at the end of the road.
Today, construction is closing in around Wright's modest home.
Has the developer at any point come to you to speak face-to-face about this?
No, I've never spoken to any one of them. They have never knocked on my door.
She says about 5 years ago, a woman did ask her about selling the land to an interested anonymous buyer for $39,000.
And I said, "You insulted my intelligence. And would you give them that message?"
She says her first communication with the company, Bailey Point Investment LLC, was being served legal notice, which alleges a satellite dish, a shed, and a portion of Wright's screened-in back porch are sitting outside of her property line, encroaching on theirs, according to their land survey. The lawsuit seeks removal, plus just an adequate compensation for its loss of the use and enjoyment of their property and expenses related to delays in development.
Now, see, and the thing that pisses me off, before the brother died, he was like, make sure you keep this land. And she's doing everything possible that she can. And this is the problem, like, even when you come to the Native American Indians or whatever you call it, you know what I'm saying? You've been tribal. If you Pan-African, guess what you was? You was all tribal. And then you always lose your damn land because you rather talk about, oh yeah, you need to follow this or follow that. When the whole time, none of our issues have been the people taking our land, no matter where the hell you are on the damn earth. And we still, to this day, will rather debate about all of that stuff. And I get what you be saying, you know, but anyway, Shanique, you want to say something about this? I ain't gonna keep playing this one.
Just honestly, I'm not surprised. I thought it was going to be a matter of eminent domain, but no, it was even slimier, where they come with some trumped up, you're outside of your lines, and because of that, you owe us. This place is full of demonic devil friggin' dragons. This is crazy to me that and mind you, in the past, this was land they probably didn't even want. But now they find that it would be advantageous for them to have it. So now we want it back. Like, this is so crazy. And the fact that a 93-year-old woman should even have to mount a defense for her own property that's been in her. Let this be something that was there. Oh, ages. It's been in our family for ages. They'll hold on to that to hold on to some suitcases that have been made by Negro skin. Oh, it's been in our family for ages. These things make you want to throw up. That they're so heartless and wicked. And yeah, I think that we really should just find something that motivates us to want to mount a fight, a real fight. And for me, it's about who I am. But for somebody else, it has to be something. But we got to get something, because this is not something that's random or new. I'm sure you've shown various videos where this very same thing has happened somewhere else in this damnable place where you've worked your hard years. People have taken so many sacrifices to keep something within their family. It's the scriptures speak about inheritance. A man leaves an inheritance to his family. They want to take away, as she said it, God gave them that. And they want to take it away so they can profit off of it. I pray for all of the wickedness that they do to come on their heads. The Father should give it to them tenfold. This is what I want for them. This is what I want for all of them. I yield.
You know, and not to offend anybody, but whatever God or whatever deity helps her keep her land, that's the one that I'm rolling with, you know what I'm saying? And then the thing is, right, we would debate about Gullah Geechee, right, whether it's African or Native, but so that means both groups should be down there helping this sister maintain her land so y'all can debate about it for years to come. Because if you let her lose this, then what is any of y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying?
For nothing.
It's like, whoa, like, what's the point of any of these debates that y'all be trying to have and always trying to say something crazy? If she could take her land, y'all, what good is the Gullah Geechee if y'all can't help her? Like, I don't care if it's African or if it's a native tribe or Indian tribe or whatever. But anyway,
absolutely.
Yeah. What you think, my brother?
Yeah, brother Forecast. I mean, unfortunately, is like when Shanique said that, not being surprised, which is really scary because that means that it's normalized now, that anyone could do anything, any way, any shape, anytime, anywhere to any one of us. And now it's been normalized. And that's what's very scary. There are, you said it very eloquently well. It's as simple as this. I know the religion that can stop this. And that religion is a Glock 19 Generation 5, a 6-hour P320. Those are pretty good religions right there. Properly placed and used and utilized in like the offices of that developer and their families. An incendiary device that has a sodium trigger or possibly a trigger that is based upon cellular devices. That's been done very successfully in Iraq. That is that's a pretty well, I mean, even Muslims use that quite well in Iraq and Afghanistan. They used, very skillfully done incendiary devices that had shrapnel and other things in them, can actually, place properly in different divisions of whether there's the ones who did the redistricting to allow that to happen or subdivision contractors. I mean, there's a lot of religions out there that can actually mitigate problems like this. The thing is how many Black folks want to believe in these religions. I mean, a properly placed, Glock, the projectile coming out of a Glock into a developer's flesh would pretty much make even him or her a believer, a quick believer. They'll see God quicker than they probably ever imagined. But at least I know that those religions are effective because Mafia did it. Crackers did it to all of our farms. And, during the days when, since Reconstruction, it's happened to Africans like, as a religion, they went ahead and used, whether it was a Mossberg or whatever shotgun or whatever, and they became quick believers. So did we, because we were moved off our land by then using the god of their weaponry or their god of their choice, which usually was a shotgun or a rifle or whatever. And clearly that religion was very successful against us. That's clearly why somebody in Hilton Head is losing their land. A Gullah Geechee is losing because clearly we have not studied religion quite well, even though we're the believers of many religions. We don't seem to have a grip on the the efficacy, for lack of a better term, on the proper religion and the proper tools of those religion to get the proper results that we need in order to keep land that has been in our families, and not having our 93-year-olds or even 72-year-olds live the last sunset of their lives being, for lack of a better term, continually exploited by these crackers. If we were to solve that, so a 72-year-old doesn't even do 6 minutes in jail, or a 93-year-old does not lose land that's been in the family since the 1800s, there are very effective ways of mitigating those problems. Although, are we willing to approach those very effective ways because it happened? Arabs made it effective in Iraq. Crackers made it effective in the South and North against us. Jew mafia, Italian mafia, Irish mafia made it effective for their territorial claims. I'm just kind of curious if we want to go down the path of spirituality and debates and rhetorical conversations, or do we want to try one of these time-tested religions that others have used against us? I think that pretty much the record would state which one we might have to explore, because Einstein, that little hook-nosed bagel-eating bastard, said it because he stole it from someone black. But he said, insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I had to kind of modify that for us. Insanity is black folks repeating the same rhetorical nonsense and getting the same results they have, which is losing our land and clearly losing our freedom in the case of the 72-year-old. So I think that maybe we should stop worshiping insanity and start taking a picture, as Malcolm X said, speak the language of those that use that language against us. And you know what I'm talking about. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, absolutely. And what up, hardcore? Ross said, I actually can't understand religion, politics, and war. And that's because we unfortunately spook it out. Religion is supposed to maintain you. Like, it's supposed to make sure you get protection, make sure you are fed, make sure you have, house. Like, your religion is supposed to make sure your society is winning, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? The things you do religiously all the time is what determines whether you're going to lose all of your land, some of your land, or none of your land. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's habits that you do over time. And when people can get in control of your habits and what you talk about, what you argue about, and that's why I ain't even go to like, yo, dude, like, even if we want to sit here and use their platforms to debate on all day long, make it for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it for, like, because I'm pretty sure if you be like, oh, all the proceeds going to X, Y, and Z, like, whoever has this idea and you really give it to the people, you know what I'm saying? That should give reasons, incentive to do it. So even that's how you even use the things that we ain't gonna do for the things we can do. You know what I'm saying? But let me go through these last couple things. I'm gonna go through it quick so we can get off of here. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's with the elders, and then of course, you know what I'm saying, with the children, right? This, you seen the white chick that poured soda on the little brother?
No, I never saw that.
I did.
Yeah.
She smacked well.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Hold on, it's freezing up now. Oh, it's freeze up when I be ready to play it, but all right, here we go.
Only victim. Good evening, I'm Chet Silber.
And I'm Julie Luck. The manager reportedly asked the kids who did not live at the apartment complex to leave. Video of the tense moments, including a drink poured on the 11-year-old, sparked outrage online. WFMY News 2's Giselle Thomas spoke to the family involved.
62-year-old Kimberly Jennings was charged with 2 counts of simple assault on a child under 12. Tenants at Sedgefield Garden Apartments say they managed the apartment, the apartment for about 3 years. Now, the family involved lived nearby, but not at the complex, and say they would regularly visit the privately owned pool.
She untwists a Coke bottle and starts splashing it on me. Then she hits me twice, like here and here.
That's how 11-year-old Jace Leary describes what happened with an apartment complex manager Wednesday. He says Kimberly Jennings was trying to get him and his 8-year-old sister to leave the Sedgefield Garden Apartments pool.
She's always with me.
The pool has signs that say no trespassing and for adults to accompany their children, but the siblings say this is not the first time they have visited the pool.
Sometimes she would just come and tell us to get out. We wait, we come back. Until last Wednesday.
Before the video started rolling, Leary says the manager pulled his sister's hair and hit her. The 11-year-old boy says at that point he threw a bottle at Jennings. What was captured in the video is Jennings throwing a soda and then reportedly hitting the boy in the chest and face. It's gone viral and sparked outrage in the Greensboro community where
all right, so it's that oh yeah, because also this sister who was just running and this white boy, because who more
Still
quote
out
unquote
there
Pan-African than
somewhere.
us.
But tonight,
Foster.
Because we
Just
all
before
black,
5
right?
o'clock today, we learned the heartbreaking news that Scylla had been found dead. And tonight, with a suspect behind bars, police and the community are asking why. WUSA 9 investigative reporter Nathan Baca is live at the
Strom Hills Park. Now, on the evening of Saturday, July 29th, Scylla went missing that day after a walk in her neighborhood. A devout Muslim from the Ivory Coast. Friends say that she was expected to be back for evening prayer, but she never came home. Fellow teacher John Eno worked with Scylla for 15 years.
We spent a lot of time planning together, and then our relationship quickly grew from.
I guess the white boy didn't stop to be like, "Where you from? Hey,
And
what you believe in?"
Infected.
Far from where Scylla was found. Police say a concerned citizen spotted what they thought was a body near this area of Old Alexandria Ferry Road in Clinton August 1st. This is more than half an hour drive away from when Scylla went missing. Police report finding a dismembered body near this industrial area. DNA evidence matched the body as Scylla. They arrested 33-year-old Harold Landon III, but won't disclose what led them to him. Police say there's no known motive and no connection between Landon and Scylla. Scylla's
Now she was just jogging out there, probably thinking it was all good. And like, sisters, you might want to be protected. Brothers, you might want to be protected when you out there. And okay, this is the last thing, right? It was like they got brains of black people on display at the museum. And if it don't play, it's all good. Y'all get the point.
Not give consent when they could not. And so, of course, a lot of those brains, especially black ones, were being compared against that of white brains to show some level of superiority. Now, the museum, the Smithsonian, was known as something else in 1903 when it came that they acquired was without consent. And it's like, I don't know how y'all could, lie and say you're just not learning that, because I've never been to the Smithsonian.
All right, so man, y'all get the point. So yeah, Shanique, you got something to say about that?
Oh goodness, the level of disgust I have right now is I'm at my very top. It would appear that although we may believe that something has changed within these creatures, there is nothing that has changed except the fact that because they chose to integrate, now they must be a little bit more masked about it. Because all I was thinking as I'm watching about this woman who was Muslim, who was clearly black, who may very well have been considered a foreigner, all of these different subgroups, was why she had no power tools. Why she had no power tools. Because the truth of the matter is, this is what we all seem to need to have at the ready. Power tools. Okay? Because at any point that that little man would have approached, he would see Beelzebub. That's who he'd see next, because that's who he needs to see, because she's doing nothing to him, living her life, and we are constantly being accosted on every angle, from every direction. You can't be at work, you can't be jogging, you can't be walking, you can't be doing anything without having to deal with an assault. If we realize that the war is continuous and that it is both physical and spiritual, that it's manifesting itself physically, that we have to be on guard and have power tools, then there is no way that we're going to be able to handle ourselves throughout this. We'll just keep hearing the death report daily. If we don't realize that this is not, stop being involved with them in a way that makes it feel as though this is not a scorpion and a frog situation. We are the frogs, and constantly being told and shown that, hey, deep down, when the switch gets flipped, you're going to find out the hatred never died, that they'll have your skulls in museums, that they will kill you and dismember you on the side of the road because you want to be fit, healthy. It's just frustrating that, and now mind you, now I'm gonna be Bakari for a second, because just the other day I watched a video about a woman, black, being assaulted by a black man. So it's everybody. So the ideologies that individuals have, you have to guard yourself from them. So see, that's what I think is the spiritual aspect. We know for a fact that that group of individuals are definitely deep down inside still have a deep hatred. But on top of that, you have to look at other people sideways too. You just have to be on guard, both spiritually and physically, for whatever can happen, because it is happening. And yes, we are all different whatevers. We are all these different things. But I'm telling you, there has to be an understanding that it's not sweet out here, that it's not nice, that you have to do some real work. And it requires power tools, of which I'm going to start shopping tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shanique. And you know, it's interesting. We haven't moved past, you know, like what we were in the 50s, like I showed earlier, where they was like, yo, my prejudice is with the Muslim, my prejudice with the Christian, none of them was with this, because she was just not trusting. I don't know if it was trusting or not. She would mind her business jogging, and dude caught her in the park, you know what I'm saying? But he did it because they are more paying to them. To everybody else, all of us is black at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Or sun words, I'll say, to make y'all feel better. But go ahead, MG2, my bad.
I got to thank you for letting me go ahead and enjoy the conversation and listen to you guys. I'm always loving listening to Sister Shanique. Yeah, I got to thank Everett and Brother Maurice, because I love the conversation. I got to just say, Brother Forecast, what you're playing, unfortunately, has been so normalized to where, of course, we get angry. Of course, we get, you know, it's at wit's end. One thing I have to do is say, I'm glad that young brother who learned how to, I mean, it looked like he was trying to be Tim Tebow with the bottle. Hopefully he put some scars on that white bitch that went ahead and, you know, and the good thing is now you have grounds for a lawsuit. So hopefully his college education is paid for by Springfield or whatever the name of that apartment complex, because I'm sure if he had the right Ben Crump, his college education and for his sister might be paid through reasons of lawsuit. Not just the complex, but the Becky that put her hands on him, because that's a felony. You know, of course, she wasn't hit with a felony. Of course. I mean, you're not supposed to hurt a child. Never touch a child. Never even speak wrong to a child. But she did all of the above. And clearly, in their so-called rule books, that's what grounds for, you know, a felony. But, you know, of course, you know, it was a young black male. And, hey, it's just status quo for the devil. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, hey, that's how they roll. I'm normal. It's normalized. The thing that I like is the fact that, well, her face is out there. So I'm pretty sure that if there are any Crips and Bloods that like to occupy the same supermarket that she does, I'm pretty sure that problem could be taken care of. You know, and it doesn't have to be just Crips and Bloods. It could be anyone. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, they know what she looks like. They know where she lives. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take much to go ahead and mitigate that problem to where, you know, she might have a segregated pool, but she'll be watching it from the hell that she'll be in and not on this earthly plane if we know what to do the right way. Because, you know, hey, it has nothing to do with hate, has nothing to do with anger. She's an impediment to us as African, as black folks, enjoying our lives. So therefore, as an impediment or an obstacle, she needs to be replaced. Hopefully, her body will be replaced, and, you know, it'll be fertilizing in Orange Grove if we do what we're supposed to do, getting rid of the obstacles. No different than the cracker that went ahead and killed that sister who was jogging on the street. And hopefully, Africans, Muslim from Ivory Coast will recognize that no matter what they believe in, somebody else believes in something more effective, and that's killing us. And hopefully they'll figure it out. Well, okay, we are from the continent. We thought that, you know, we can assimilate into white culture. Well, they learned the hard way. Okay, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully that they, our family from the continent across the sea will now realize that, hey, you know, when you're in hell, you do not believe in devils, and you don't look for devils for solace. When you're in hell, i.e. United Snakes and any Western so-called society, you recognize that it's the devil's home, and in order for you to live, you need to get rid of it. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you are. You know, United Snakes or Europeans, for lack of a general, Neanderthals, Crackers, Peckerwoods, you know, whatever you want to call them, have made this planet, unfortunately, their home. And like a roach, it must be exterminated no matter where it occupies this planet. And hopefully the brother from Ivory Coast, instead of going, you know, retracing and retrenching into his spirituality for solace, he can do that, but just recognize that there are more effective physical tools that are projectiles that do a lot better. And that, and I'm not just talking about going against the peckerwood that killed the young lady. I'm pretty sure that somebody gave birth to it, and that is also has to pay for it. Some folks call it a mom. I'm sure that peckerwood that killed the sister has a mother and a father and probably a wife and a daughter and a cousin and some friends. Well, they have to pay the price because he's also a product of that environment. So that environment must be, you don't just get rid of one roach, you go after the nest. Even if the nest did nothing to you, it still is a roach's nest. So the thing is I'm pretty sure that, whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or an Israelite or a Moor or whatever, I'm pretty sure sooner or later that you might be faced with the real priorities of self-preservation. And I'm not saying put spirituality aside. Keep your spirituality. Keep your Aboriginal or whatever you want to call yourself. Hey, that's fun. It's cool. It's spiritual. Whatever it is that makes you who you are, keep. But you may also want to include or supplement it with a very effective means to make sure that you're around enough to be a Moor or a Kemet or an Israelite. And those means are usually projectiles, they're incendiary devices, they're biological substances that can actually, roaches also can be poisoned. It's not like they can't. So there's ways of clearing the roach's nest, and not just that, because the peckerwood's going to be in jail, but his family won't. And he'll more than likely get financial funding from a family to try to get him out of that jail for killing and dismembering a Black woman. So in order to mitigate that problem of him getting out because he won't have the funding, is go for the source of where he'll get his funding, whether it's Tucker Carlson or the Peckerwood's family. The white female that decided that she wanted to use an 11-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl as a punching bag, well, I'm pretty sure there's some brothers out there that need, to do some training, and she would be more than happy to, to contribute or volunteer for that kind of training. And that's, if you need a punching bag, there's a 63-year-old Peckerwood female that would be more than happy to give you as much, to donate her physical apparatus called a body for that reason. Should we use, instead of spirituality only, we should use those more effective physical means to supplement our spiritual or our ideology or our gender wars or our ADOS-ness or whatever. I'm pretty sure that we'll use those physical means. If not, then maybe those other things we hold on to might not be the things we need to hold on to. Anyways, Brother Forecast, thank you so much. And you, Sister Shanique, everyone else.
Hey, real quick before you go, because I had this. It's not much, but I had to show some. It's not long, but it's I had this. I couldn't let you go out just off of that. This is a Black truck driver. You know what I'm saying? No, this white boy ran up on his truck. It's not long, so I just wanted to play some kind of positive, I guess. It's all mute because the sound is like some dumb music. What you see, this brother. Yeah, because I understand how it is. You be out there, you don't know where you at. I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you got something to say about that, MD2, before you go? I just wanted to show you something, that's not like bad,
Oh, no, that's great. I mean, the brother got his calisthenics in today. And he's actually using different techniques to hopefully that the Peckerwood's face looks like a relief map after it's done, because I'm sure he needs some facial reconstruction. And I'd be more than happy to pay for the brother to, if he goes into any kind of, in any legal ramifications for applying facial reconstruction on a Peckerwood, which I think that we all should be inspired to do. It's nothing wrong. It's just, hey, white boy comes up and decides, hey, man, I need to get my face redone. The brother says, I'm not a plastic surgeon, but I do got a club. You don't even have to pay me. I'll do it for free. Run up on me and you let me know which side to start on first. And it looked like the white boy was doing something out of it looked like he was probably, Circus Soleil, the way he flipped on the ground. It looked like, I don't need to get tickets to Circus Soleil. I got to say. It was a win-win situation. The white boy wanted some exercise, and the brother, wanted to learn facial reconstruction as a doctor. He might not be a plastic surgeon, but he was more effective than anyone that I know. So I should say that, in these times, whether you have to use, as Shanique says, power tools or whatever you have to use, whether it's poisons, pepper spray, an incendiary device, whatever it is, in order for self-preservation, and particularly a lawn chair, whatever you gotta use it. Folding chairs are great, whatever it is. My thing, Brother Forecast, is just as simple as this. Whatever tribe you go to, whatever religion, whatever ideology, whatever clique, crew, homie, gang, village, team, club, or whatever that folks identify themselves as, hopefully they're as effective as a folding chair and clearly what this brother showed, a club, or the young brother with a bottle. Whatever we use, it's all about self-preservation, Black folk. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And that should be something I think might change our trajectory on this planet as Black folk. Anyways, thank you guys so much, man. And I'm going to go ahead and listen to you guys offline, the Brother Forecast. Y'all take care.
I appreciate you, MG2. I appreciate you coming out. Yeah, what you think, Shanique?
Oh goodness. The prevailing thought that's in my head the whole while is that everyone, if there's nothing I want to express, is that anyone that has melanin needs to learn how to use a power tool and keep it at all times, because we don't need to have to worry about a stick. I mean, what's the point of even arguing or having any of these extra things go on? Because when you know that there's a hunter out, if you're I don't know, if you're a deer, then you recognize, okay, I'm gonna have to use evasive maneuvers. But if you are the deer with the power tool, then you understand you don't have to use evasive maneuvers, because clearly people are continually seeking issue with us. I want to be ready at any point that the issue comes my way, because the issues are coming from every direction for our people. I recognize who I am. I want to clear that too. I think religion is a snare and a racket, as was said before in history. I do not ascribe to it. I know who I am. So each person needs to find out who they are and not be told who ethnically they are. But after you find out who you are, then you also have to find out what your code of conduct in life is. And then that must be your mode of operandi for how you move. For me, I have a belief in a creator. I know he created me and I am special to him, and my people are. Now, that being said, I also recognize that he didn't send me here to be trampled on or abused or treated like or thrown out like garbage or pieces. No, none of this stuff that's going on to our people is the intent that he has for us. But he does have a purpose for us. We are the light. So in all of your actions in your life, that's how you have to conduct yourself. But in being that light, we also need to recognize that if I am being taken advantage of physically, mentally, financially, emotionally, whatever, then I need to take some action. I need to take action. And I think that's the theme of your show. I know you show videos that get us all riled up, that get me riled up. They get a lot of information out that do a lot of different things. But the point, I believe, from what I'm extrapolating from this, is that you want us all to be inspired to take action. And I want to encourage all of my people to take action. Do not take my word, my husband's word, MG2, any of our words for. You need to seek out your belief system. You need to seek out who you are. You need to find, as my husband, you need to seek out truth. You need to find out what that is. But you also need to look at the world around you and understand that the commonality of your existence should motivate you to move in a direction that there is muscle memory when you see another person that looks like you being taken advantage of. And if you're not prepared, how can you do that? If you have no power tools, how can you put together a wall or a building or anything? You're not ready. So that aspect of it is something that all of women, men, we need to learn what it is. You may need to hunt deer. All of us need to know how to hunt deer. That's what we need to know how to do, for one. And then we need to recognize that we have been the deer as long as we've been here. So if there's anything you should gather, please get those two ideas on. Get a belief system, but also recognize if you see someone that looks like you being taken advantage of, please apply the appropriate pressure and do the thing that is required to be done. And we know what that is. I don't need to say it. We know what that is. We neutralize threat completely. And that's what I really believe. I truly believe that I have not done myself a service in doing that. We all need to do that because I've had enough of seeing us being treated like mere pieces of meat. We're treated there are dogs that live better than we live in this place, whether it be when we're at work, when we're home, when we're at the park, when we're at the store, wherever we are. You need to defend yourself. This, because we have been put into a situation where we're all together, does not change the fact that we are not the same and we are not being treated the same. So if that's the case, then you have to defend yourself no different than anyone in the original Wild West of the frontier of this place. We have to live like that. We're going back to a time where you are responsible for you and yours. And yours was clearly defined by what yours appeared to visually. We have to start realizing that. And yes, we also need to build our communities. Yes, we also need to make sure that we are trying to make businesses and build wealth. And all of that is tied in with us dealing with one another. We have to reverse the segregation. We have to reverse segregation of our mind. We have to reverse the integration, of our minds. We have to reverse all of that and realize that if we move as one unit, one big chocolate melanated unit, and defend and protect and see us, then we can be peace. We can be at peace. That's what I think we need. We need to find a way to be at peace. And some people will not rest, will not allow peace until they are removed completely. Now, those that don't feel that way, then okay, that's good for them. But the ones that have to be removed have to be removed. We have to do something. We cannot keep being chattel. We can't just keep being run over like this. This is too much. No idea should be so polarizing that we don't see that we are being destroyed. We need to wake up. That's the thought I want people to get. I know I am Israel. I know that. But I understand also that I appear to be a melanated person, and all of us are. We need to protect one another at all cost. Because what's the point then? What are we doing if I'm safe for the moment? But at any moment, if I decide to go jogging, I could be a pound of flesh somewhere. That's just as disgusting and obscene that we even allow this kind of stuff to go on. If we were the savages that people present that we are, there would be none of this going on. And I think we need to adopt some of their savagery and behave according to the situation. I yield. Thank you. Forecast.
No, I agree with that. Definitely, Shanique. I appreciate you coming on. Tell Everett, appreciate him coming on. I definitely appreciate that. And the thing is, and I'll say this, with the truck driver thing, on a small scale, I understand, just meeting and talking to, even on here, just a bunch of different truck drivers, how hard it be. You going through America where most of the places is all white places, you know what I'm saying? And you got to go you in Idaho somewhere, you better pray to God you don't break down or nothing like that. And you're not even supposed to have a gun in your thing, and they can stop you anytime. They got their own kind of police and stuff like that. So I understand how hard it is, and you got to be able to protect yourself while you out there, because they do be on there trying you, you know what I'm saying? You can listen to the CB radio for yourself, you know what I'm saying? So, it goes to protecting yourself on that level. And on a major scale, you know what I'm saying, you can do everything. You can have your own, especially if you have your own truck, you could find Black businesses and have them intermediate. But the two things, right, you have to still go back to them. That's why I understand what MD2 was saying, because number one, for insurance. Now, back then, Black people was oh, we couldn't get insurance, so we'll make our own, but we don't do that. So we don't control insurance. So you still got to give up to them. And then definitely fuel, you know what I'm saying? And we definitely ain't even close to that, because we are going to argue about where people come from other than make like even if you think that you're a different tribe or whatever, like of course black people gonna look out at each other because we gotta be able to get fuel, you know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, we always gonna be subject to their stuff, to their systems, you know what I'm saying? And you know, the thing is, you know, like damn, Raw, Jesus Christ, we didn't even get to the regular tribal wars, you know what I'm saying? We got stuck on the first tribal wars, you know what I'm saying, which is like, and not to say anybody's like religion or anything like that, but even when I say it, I mean like practicing the certain things over and over that is meant to help your culture adapt and survive and like be able to feed itself. You know what I'm saying? Like the most important things, like we know that we have to be able to feed ourselves. We know that we have to be able to build our own houses and take care of ourselves, and we got to practice that in the culture, teach our children, train them to be these things, you know what I'm saying? It don't just happen, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we get stuck on these quote unquote tribal wars, you know what I'm saying? Because going back to that, because luckily we didn't even get to the ADOS versus this thing, because we see here like none of these ideologies is helping us. All we could do is say hope and pray and, you know, say we gotta help them, but we don't, you know what I'm saying? We never do. And these wars amongst ourselves is never going to stop it, you know what I'm saying? And I guess maybe we'll get to it another time. I know Bakari, he was going to come on here defending, you know what I'm saying, the whole thing. But the point is, you know what I'm saying, we losing in all aspects while we sitting here debating, and they making money off of us on here putting on the blackface doing the clown show, you know what I'm saying? And y'all get mad at me because I have other people come on here, but y'all listen to all the other stuff. Y'all like the other stuff, but we don't even get paid for it. They do, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I was even saying, like, why even talk about it or debate about it if y'all ain't gonna get paid for it? Like they do. They have their debate leagues where they say we're gonna put money in the chat for this and that. You can do it on your page, but just be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you say it's for my pocket, but that's the problem. We always for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the one lesson that we never ever learned. The tribal. It's okay to have your own tribe. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to have your own differences. We can compete and we can talk trash to each other, but when it comes down to time to do business, it's about business. It's not about trying to tear each other down. You know what I'm saying? They are more pan-European than we are, and they definitely more pan-African than we are, because to them, all us is the same. Even the mulattoes they think is black. You know what I'm saying? And y'all agree with that because y'all let them define who is in your tribe on top of all of these things. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that other part about the tribal wars next time. But we got so many goddamn divisions, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, you know. But I'll let these be the final words here. I'll let Malcolm X have the final words here. Hopefully this is the right one, I guess.
Life, but they take the Negro and disarm him of his intelligence by telling him to turn the other cheek. He should be peaceful, he should be law-abiding, but at any time anybody tries to make him the victim of brutality, he should retaliate with the maximum force at his disposal. No matter what the odds against him are, he should retaliate. And the only ones who are going to start telling him that the odds against him are too great are these Negro Uncle Toms. Well, if a Negro can be drafted and sent to Korea to face 800 million Chinese, I don't know where any greater odds are than that. So it's better for him to do it right here at home, die like a man, and then
Why the limits of your rifle? Well, if there is such a thing.
whatever, I haven't mentioned, whatever is necessary. I'm flexible, and they should keep flexibility. Whenever the government hasn't done its part, then it's up to the people to do their part.
Where has the government not done its part? Put it that way.
The church was bombed in Birmingham. 4 little girls were murdered. Where are the murderers? Medgar Evers was shot in the back. Where is his murderer? Emmett Till Charles Mack Parker, and 2 little boys were shot down right after the church was bombed. All of this happened right after the March on Washington. Where was the government? All the government did was send a football coach down to look into the matter. No, the government has broken down. So the Negro who today is saying he's going to retaliate the burden shouldn't be upon us. The burden is on the government. Let the government do its job, and then it won't have to worry about things getting out of hand.
Well, don't you think that the police departments of this nation actually did try to find out who bombed the church?
No. The police were probably in cahoots with the bombers of the church.
In what way?
In whichever way it was necessary to bomb the church. Evidently, you aren't familiar with Birmingham. It was policemen who were sicking dogs on the babies. It was policemen who were drowning the innocent little children with water hoses. It was the policemen who are using cattle prods on innocent Negro demonstrators. So the policemen in this country are the ones who are responsible for the brutality and the violation of the rights of the persons who are demonstrating, trying to get some kind of implementation of the Supreme Court desegregation decision. So the policemen themselves have become guilty of violating the rights of the people. So what are the people to do? Call upon the same ones who are victimizing them to protect them? No. They have to protect themselves. Excuse me for raising my voice. They have to protect themselves. But I get excited when a white man becomes so concerned over Negroes defending themselves. All the white man has to do is stop brutalizing the Negro, and then he doesn't have to worry about the Negro doing whatever is necessary to defend himself. It's enough to get you excited.
All right, man. So yeah, man. I guess all I can say is all around the world, the same song, and generation after generation, the same song too. Like, yo, we had all of these same discussions 200, 300, 400 years ago, and we don't even know it. That's the crazy part, and I guess that's the insanity. But who knows, you know? But anyway, man. As always, oh yeah, shouts out to Shanique, shouts out to Everett, MG2, shouts out to Raw, definitely in the building. I appreciate it. Shouts out to Hardcore in the building. Maurice Muhammad came through. Shouts out to Maurice Muhammad, he came on. Shouts out to Matron. Matron, you got a lot of explaining to do, Matron. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say, Matron. But you know, it is what it is. I appreciate all of y'all. Shouts out to Erica Howell. Shouts out to Considra. Y'all subscribe to Considra. Shouts out to Bakari. You know what I'm saying? Shanique and MG2 came and represented well. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let Bakari off the hook. You know what I'm saying? But he gonna get it on the next one. So it's all good. But anyway, as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.